All right. Welcome back to Just Boxing Live. I am your host, Sean Fitzgerald. We are live here at Sweet Science Boxing Gym in Hawthorne, California. And I got a full table with me today to talk a little bit about boxing and to talk about our guest of the day, super middleweight, undefeated, 4-0, 4 KOs, Andre Perez. Welcome to Just Boxing Live.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, we're happy to have you. And this is your father and head trainer, the man that we now know as Rhino.
There you go.
Giovanni Perez. What's up, man?
How you doing today? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing really well, yeah. We're happy to have you. And to my left, host of Against the Ropes, as well as the commentator for All-Star Boxing. So you got a busy couple weeks coming up here.
Yeah, we have a show coming up April 10th, and we just got told we have another show the following week, April 17th. This is the first time that we have like a back-to-back one. So excited about that, the growth of All-Star Boxing and the commentary.
And of course, I'm referring to Christian Mosqueda.
Hey.
I didn't get to give your name out. Shout out, man. Shout out. Thank you guys for joining us, man.
No problem, man.
Yeah, that's right. So that's actually up in your neck of the woods. So the All-Star Boxing shows that you're talking about, those take place in Montebello, California, Quiet Cannon. And you are Montebello, East LA, kind of right on the border. Is that true?
Yeah, literally right on the border.
Literally. Right. Do you guys ever catch those fights out there?
We've been at a few fights, and I've worked a couple fights for that company before, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
It's a pretty good event.
Oh, we got another Giovanni on the chat, Gio Garcia.
Oh, there you go. Shout out
What's
to
up, Gio from Against the Ropes?
Yeah.
Aaron Soraya from Standing 8 Podcast. Shout out, guys. Thanks for joining us today. We're here to talk about Andre Perez and probably talk a little bit about boxing.
Yeah. That's what we're here for, right? It's
just boxing. That's what we do here. So, Andre, you have been boxing for about 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah, since like 12 years old.
How old are you now?
19.
You're 19?
Just turned 19, yeah.
Awesome. And can you tell me a little bit about how you found boxing and sort of what your background was before turning professional? I know now, as a professional, you're 4-0. Did you have any amateur competition experience, or where did you get started? How did you find it at 12?
Honestly, I found out boxing like through him, obviously, and my dad. But I started doing it when I was like 6, 7, and then I stopped, and then I came back when I was 12 because he asked me like what I wanted to do, and then I was like, I'll try boxing again. So I tried boxing again, and here we are.
You did other sports in the interim?
Yeah, I did basketball, baseball, and football.
Basketball, baseball, football?
Yeah.
Were you guys initially supportive of the idea of going into boxing, or was it something that took some time to come around to?
Not really, because it was in the blood already,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because my dad, he boxed too in the Army as well.
Okay.
In Vietnam, and he actually came from Mexico City to Little Dorado, Texas, to fight in the Vietnam. So he volunteered as a volunteer in Vietnam, and he got shipped out in '59. So he got a citizenship and boxed in the Army there. And when he came out, came to school, went to school, and started a whole family. And here we are now doing the boxing thing. And he ended up becoming the president of World Boxing Hall of Fame, my father, Adolfo Perez, and did a lot of things in boxing. And, I wanted to do the boxing thing too, but growing up in the 90s was hard in East LA and Montebello, the gang life, the culture, the gang culture, as you'll say, took over. And so boxing was it was just a thought from there on out. And then later on, my years, well, not later on in years, because I had you at 6, 17.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was a kid, not really, being a little misfit, not caring about the world and, screw the world, and I'm doing it my way.
Yeah, at 6 or 7, people say like there's a little bit of fear getting into boxing as a child. Did you experience some of that fear getting, lacing up the gloves a little bit? At 6 or 7? No?
No, not really. I was more like one of the hyper ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you came back to boxing around 12, did you feel a little bit of pressure, or were you excited to come back to?
No, yeah, I was excited. I wanted to start. Like, maybe I could, see what I could do.
Nice. Well, the first time that you sparred, how soon was it before you started sparring?
It wasn't really that soon.
Not soon. Okay.
Yeah, it was probably like a couple weeks, and then I already started sparring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I already knew like kind of the basics already.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Did you feel that pressure, like, oh, I gotta, from dad, like to try to impress him? Was there some pressure or was it more of a relaxed fit?
Tell us how Rhino pressured you.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
It wasn't really pressure. I mean, me and him, we always had we're always comfortable with each other. So it was it's just my dad.
Nice.
So I didn't really have no pressure on it.
Okay, because we talk a lot about these dynamics between father and son, and how that fits into your relationship.
Yeah.
So we hear a lot about the Mayweathers or about the Danny Garcias. How is you guys' relationship relating to boxing?
Well, it's just like any other thing, it's a boxer. You gotta separate the father from the trainer, because we're with each other every day, and seeing everybody, seeing each other every day, and then getting pissed off at the gym, and then bring that at home sometimes, oh, you should have did this way, and it's what it is. It's a medium, you know what I mean? You just gotta find a medium where we can both agree on things, because in the end, he's the one that's getting in the ring too as well. You gotta look out for your son, and you're his trainer, so you're a boxer too, so you gotta look out for both. Nice. So it's kind of like and you get used to it, I guess. Along the way, you're always gonna get nervous, you know what I mean? But as long as we stay prepared and we grind hard and work hard, and we do our homework right,
Did you guys check out the amateur boxing scene in LA at all? Do you have any amateur competitions?
Yeah, I don't have too much, but I had my share.
A little over like 20, 25, 28,
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that,
I did desert. My first one was Desert Showdown. I won.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I won a heavyweight, and then I did blue and gold here and there.
Won that. And
then I did Junior Olympics a couple times. But the recent one that I did was when I was like 16, 17. I lost in like semifinals.
Okay.
In Texas.
Dallas.
And then you turned pro at 18?
Yeah.
Okay. And you've had 4 fights as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
You've had some elite level sparring is how I would attribute it. Can you talk a little bit about some of the sparring partners that you've had
I helped out I sparred with Zudo Ramirez from Wild Card. He helped me out. He's the one that kind of opened the door for me to because I'm little, so people see me sparring him, and then I did pretty good. So they're like, damn, who's that? Who's this small kid? Because I'm only 5 something, and so it was he's 6'4", 6'5", and I was doing pretty good. And then after that just kind of kept the ball rolling. I went to Benavidez' camp when he fought Jarrell. I was there from beginning to start. He showed me a lot of love too. Nice. I appreciate him. And then it was from him to
Rosado.
Chavez and Rosado.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got both of them ready for their fight in Arizona when he fought Jacobs. So
nice.
I helped them out, and I think that's probably about it.
What are some of the things that you learned from Zurdo, sparring Zurdo?
He's more relaxed. He taught me to be relaxed, not all tense and hyped up in there.
Mm-hmm.
So he taught me more of that and just taking my time.
Nice. How about Benavidez?
Benavidez taught me combination more, running combinations and just throwing punches. Nice. But don't throw punches just to throw punches. Throw punches to make them count.
Purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's something that you learned from yourself being in there with these guys? These guys are seasoned.
I learned how do I say to maintain myself, keep calm, don't
composed.
Yeah, stay composed.
Yeah. It's interesting because one of the things that we talk about a lot on this show is the LA boxing scene. And we talk about the level of competition sparring that you can get at just gyms kind of sporadically, even from people who aren't recognized professionals. So there's this sense that there's just great sparring here in LA. We've got a lot of gyms that have a lot of high-class people. So I'm sure that you've done your share of sparring. Do you feel a difference when you're in there with someone who is the caliber of a world champion? Is it, for instance, more intimidating, or does it feel different when you're sparring those individuals than versus other people who we know are just high-quality sparring because they're part of the boxing scene in LA?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I could really answer that because ever since 12, I've always sparred grown men. So
sparring professionals since 14.
Yeah.
So I never really. Yeah. I probably spar people my age a couple times. I sparred Diego Pacheco.
Yeah.
I sparred him. So I don't know. I always got elite sparring, so I never really got no low budget sparring.
What gym do you guys train out of right now?
We're out of Capatillo's Boxing Academy in East
Awesome.
LA, right there with their family and their gym. They welcome us with open doors. They love us, and we know them for a long time too as well. So we train out of there. Yeah.
So you, having that background with your father boxing and things like that. I imagine growing up, you were a boxing fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you watched all the fights and all
I
that
watched
stuff.
everybody's fights. Yeah.
Do you feel like your son's the same way?
Excuse me?
Is your son the same way? Is he a boxing fan? Do you guys watch all the fights together? and
You know
stuff?
what?
He does.
Nah,
I don't.
I do. Yeah. He's like burnt out. Like, dude, I do. I get it. But no, I really love the sport. I enjoy the sport. It's just back in the days it was more. It's different now. The boxing, it's different now. People do. It's more of a business. It's not like two warriors just colliding, but two warriors and let's get it in there. Let's see who's the best. Now, so we got to set up the money. Make sure we got to set up the money first. Make sure the money's right before we can get in there. But back, that's how it is now. Back in the days, let's get it in.
Nice.
Two best fighters.
So you feel like today, in today's boxing scene, it's more prominent that business gets in the way of boxing from a fan standpoint. Like we don't get to see all the fights necessarily.
The promoters, it's not really the fighters, it's the promoters.
Shout out real quick to Alex Martinez, who jumped on the chat, to Martinez boxing team. He said, "Hello, everyone. Have a great Sunday." Have a great Sunday to you too, brother.
man.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you and your team back in action. We got to get you guys on here someday, actually. So, do you have, for instance, like people who you looked up to or admired? Given that you're not much of a boxing fan compared to your dad, are there still boxers who you look at and go, there are some traits or characteristics that I want to model myself after, looking at this?
Yeah, I like Mike Tyson a lot. Part like
Who
top
doesn't?
one. Yeah.
Beautiful man.
Yeah, I like him a lot. And then I like Canelo too. I like the Charlo brothers. I like a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Tank. I like Tank.
What's the last fight that you watched?
Live or on TV?
On TV.
On
On
TV,
TV. Yeah.
I think it was Tank's fight.
Oh,
When he
okay.
fought,
Gamboa?
yeah.
Gamboa and Tank.
Or it was either Tank's
Like
or
2 months
I
ago,
think it
like
was
a month
Ryan's. I think it was Ryan's.
Ryan's was after. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Ryan's was after.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was Ryan's. I think I seen Ryan's. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you feel some sort of pressure being 19, growing up in the social media era to kind of build your fan base through social media? Do you feel some pressure to that or?
Nah, but I know like that's like a big part now.
Yeah.
Like, cause in this decade, like it's all social media now.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like they need to put content out there to
Yeah.
engage? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't really like train. Like I don't like taking videos like that.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't really like used to all that stuff.
Yeah.
I barely like getting active with my Instagram like not too long ago. But yeah, they tell me like you should part more boxing stuff and all that.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't really like train like people taking like pictures or stuff
Oh,
for me.
okay.
I don't know. It just feels kind of weird.
Recording their sparring. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want them to know like my
Yeah,
inside
like
game.
it feels
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
it feels kind of weird. But
Mhm.
then I know like that's what I have to do in order to get like build my fan base because I know people want to see that.
Nice.
Yeah,
I say build it in the ring.
Hey.
yeah.
build your fan base in
There's
the
some
ring.
element of it today that I imagine is based on ticket sales, right? Like how many tickets can you sell? How many
Yeah.
butts can you put in the seat? And I think a lot of the appeal of Ryan, for instance, is
Mhm.
the fact that they put up the 4 million Instagram followers.
Yep.
Sometimes I think it's a little bit excessive with as much as they promote it, in the sense that like when they do the comparison to Canelo and to Oscar De La Hoya, like,
Mhm.
and they show this is where they were at their careers at like 19 years old.
Right.
And then one of the measurements of that is how many social media followers. It's like they didn't have, like Oscar
course,
didn't
right,
have
right.
Instagram, like there was no Instagram when
They were in
Oscar
the
was
trenches.
19
They
years
were in the
old.
trenches. They were in the trenches.
It's not a fair comparison. Oscar, I'm sure, would have had many, many followers if there was an Instagram.
Well, he was
back
an
then.
Olympian, so people did know him all over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was an Olympian. so-
Exactly. So I'm sure Oscar would have had his fair share of followers.
Yeah.
But I understand. I understand. We have to
Mhm.
do it. We have to do it. So there's kind of this narrative that goes around in boxing about fathers who train their sons, right? But there's also positive examples of that, maybe more today than there ever have been in the past, right? You've got, Sean Porter, who's trained by his father. Joe Calzaghe was trained by his father. Jojo Diaz trained by his father. So you have people who are Lomachenko. Yeah, it goes on and on. So we see more examples of success in this area than maybe we have in the past. But still,
There's always been like that too, though.
Sure.
It's always been like that.
Yeah,
too.
you can think
It's
back
just not
to
exposed
specific
as much
examples.
now that it is.
Yeah.
Because of the social media too.
But I also think that as a father who trains his son there's some burden of proof there. Like we still look upon it as a boxing community as kind of unfavorably, even though that we have all these strong examples of it actually working.
Right.
People recommend against it. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. So like, is that ever something that sits in your mind, or are you concerned with it in the sense that, or are you just like, hey, you know what, we're going to continue to be successful,
And that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
you just said it right there. If you're successful at it, why change anything?
if it's effective,
If
right?
it's effective, why change it? Even if it's not, go back to the drawing board and let's readjust.
Yeah, because you even see like Ryan Garcia, for instance, took a lot of criticism, even
Well,
though he was
Canelo,
experiencing success.
His trainers train the Reynosos train him now.
They do now, yes.
They got him. And that's just another form of adjustment. He's still there.
Yeah.
He's still there overseeing everything. So it's just another.
That's
way.
true. It's not like they got rid of him.
Yeah, he's still there. He needs to.
Yeah.
He's just his dad just worked the corner for
The Cuban.
Frank Sanchez.
Yeah,
yesterday,
Frank Sanchez last night.
So yeah, that was a pretty good fight. Did you see that fight?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's a
I
pretty
did
good
watch
fight,
the
yeah.
Frank Sanchez fight.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Did you
yeah.
watch that fight?
No, I didn't watch that one.
And then it opened the doors for his dad too. Now he just doesn't have Ryan and his son. Now he has other boxers now.
True.
That he could help out and guide them along their career as they go on. So as being a father, as a trainer, no, I see if it's successful, then you keep going with it. If it's not, you adjust and you adapt.
So what is your process for picking up and sort of learning new things as a coach? Because I imagine some of this is learning on the job in the sense that, you had mentioned you didn't have, for instance, a professional boxing career, but you've been a lifelong fan. You've been observing.
I've been around a lot of boxers and a lot.
You've been observing it for a long time. So you just kind of pick things up from trainers.
Yeah,
as
you
can?
know, that's what I did. Just picked up things that I liked from people and kind of put it in the blender and did my own thing with it. You know what I mean? And my other friend Gil helped me along the way. Gil Valdez, out of East LA Assassins too. We train out of Capetillos too. He's molding to be who he is today too.
Yeah.
Shout outs to him, Gil Valdez. Freshness at Instagram.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
How would you characterize the style that you guys have built together? Or is there a bucket that you would classify, like I'm the boxer puncher, elusive? What would you say?
You know what? He's like I said. Same thing with the training. I'm pretty sure I see what I see. I see he has a little bit of Mike Tyson, a little bit of Mayweather, a little bit of Julio Cesar Chavez. A little bit of everything, and he threw it in the blender, and it's Andre style. We do a lot of body work. All the knockouts have been with the body.
Oh, really?
All body shots.
4 body
shots.
knockouts?
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been like either they give up or they just can't take it anymore. So that's what we implement. Just work the body for the first 4 rounds. Let's see what happens.
So you had 4 fights as a professional, those deep in Mexico and Jalisco and areas like we were talking about. And you were mentioning before we started that you're looking now to start competition here in the United States.
Yeah.
Is that something that you anticipate doing in the near future, like in 2020, or is it more beyond that?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We were just talking about it a few weeks ago. Like once he would turn 19, like we're gonna come over here too as well and do the back and forth thing. You know what I mean? Because we like Guadalajara too. So.
It's quite a bit. I didn't realize from a travel standpoint, there's a lot involved in doing that. So you guys.
Yeah.
How do you get? So what's your approach in terms of getting down to these events? You don't fly straight from here,
No.
right?
No, we drive down to TJ and then we fly out of TJ to Guadalajara. So
It's a lot
What's
cheaper.
that? Yeah,
Easy in the
exactly.
pockets.
Because it's a lot of travel as a fighter, right?
you're traveling
You guys
a
are
lot in the
footing the
hotels.
bill for a lot of these
Yeah,
expenses.
Yeah.
No, but we got good sponsors. We got good sponsors. We got Gabriel and David Nam from Garden Grove Nissan that take care of us. We got KPT9 security service. Fernando, he helps us out. Everlast, they gave us gear. Shout out to Ernie from Everlast. They always take care of us. My friend Mario from Holistic Tattoos, or yeah.
So supportive group,
A lot
just
of-
a lot of
supportive.
supportive individuals.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So for no, bro, paint me the picture of your first fight. Did you feel nerves? Like just walk me through how it was to have that first fight.
Professional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't really too much like, I wasn't that nervous, but I was kind of nervous because like it's my first professional fight. Like anything could happen, just one punch. But yeah, I mean, once I just got in there and like the first round, like kind of like started fading away. So yeah, it's just like I kind of like put it in my head like it's like sparring or something, just to like relax me kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you feel like the crowd was a little bit against you, or no? Do you feel
No,
like,
actually, there wasn't really no crowd like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I'd rather have no crowd.
Yeah, I actually fought like it wasn't during the day, but it was going like during the day, but like towards going towards the night.
Okay, nice. And do you look to your dad when you're in the ring, or do you just focus in? Or
No, I'm just locked in when I get in there.
Nice.
He's in the zone.
We're
both in the zone, you know.
Is this the first knock?
That's
the first fight?
That's his first
Yeah,
fight.
I just watched the knockout footage from his first fight. Check that out. Body shot, indeed. That is that's a way to describe
I
that.
would turn it on, but it's probably gonna mess up the mic and the sound.
Yeah.
So.
No, definitely a pretty significant focused body attack
Yeah,
there
it's
to get that one.
Yeah, that's something we don't normally see a whole lot in the first pro fights of fighters, So it's nice to see. It's nice to see that you're going to the body. That's something that we as a commentating team we talk about that a lot. How important it is to go to the body to show that facet of a fighter's game.
Yeah,
because we see a lot of head hunting.
Yeah.
I think it depends also on the level of experience of the person who's transitioning from amateur to professional. Because you get some of these people, if they're coming in with like an Olympic pedigree, they know how to throw hooks and do attack the body and do things like that. But a lot of times, at the club level in particular, you have people who are, again, learning on the job. They're finding that experience as they participate in these fights as professionals. And so it's common, I would say, to see people who, focus on straight punches, not necessarily a lot of really clean hooks, and a lot of tactics. I think one of the things I notice with people at that level more than anything else, there's a lot of waiting. Just a lot of waiting. Right. And I always feel like I blame somewhat Floyd Mayweather for all the waiting that you see in boxing. I've always felt as though, and I'm really interested actually to hear people's opinions on this, that like none of boxing is waiting. Like meaning even when you watch people who are classic counter punchers, people like Floyd Mayweather, they're doing things to encourage you to engage in a way that they want you to, right? Yeah, so they're setting traps. You look at people like Terrence Crawford. He's not standing there waiting for you to punch and then trying to react. You don't have enough time.
He's doing
really
something to make you react.
Yeah, he wants to make you react so that he can do it. And so I feel like a lot of times, I was talking last week about the shoulder roll, and I feel sorry for all the coaches who had to deal with kids who were coming in and just wanting to shoulder roll everything
because they don't. Still does that.
Does he really? It's not bad.
He does pretty good. It's not bad. He does good with it, and he does counter with it. So as long as you're doing something with it, I'm not just rolling his punches.
It's not bad, but it's more that I think the default, coming into any gym is probably not like, hey, how do we do the shoulder roll? They want to teach you the fundamentals and then kind of expand from there and say, let's get into your own unique style.
Right.
Yeah.
So the shoulder roll, I think one of the other things is like this idea that counter punching means like I'm just gonna wait. I'm going to wait for you to punch, and then I'm going to react to that punch, and I'm going to use my reflexes and timing. Like most people don't have Roy Jones type reflexes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Winky
Like,
Wright used to do that too. Winky Wright was a good counter puncher too.
Yeah, but like most cats don't have reflexes that could do that. You really need to be encouraging people to engage in some way, like baiting, feinting, doing things like that.
And you also got to train for that, because if you don't train to be a counter puncher, you're not going to do it. They're going to be, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. What is that? So I see a lot of waiting at that level. Yeah, I think
we're like more pressure. Pressure. First, fill them out.
I can see that.
I'd say first 30 seconds. First 30 seconds, fill them out. Once that 30 seconds over, then start going. Then 30 seconds defense, 30 seconds offense, 30 second defense, and if you don't want to do go get them.
Yeah.
But that time, by those 30 seconds, time's already up. Yeah. In those segments of those 30 seconds.
You could see with that knockout, for instance, the opponent. There's a point where, and this actually occurred last night in one of the heavyweight fights that was on PBC, where you look at it and they get to a point where F.A. Ajagba's opponent was just like, I'm just done. Like I just don't want to get hit anymore, right? Like it's not necessary. Like he just kind of was there. He took the knee and just kind of put his hand up and was like, "That's what I'm done. I don't want to get hit anymore with that kind of stuff. You want to take that kind of punishment."
Sometimes that happens in boxing, man. They get tired. I remember one fight. I forgot what it was. I forgot which fight it was, but it was a heavyweight fight. I guess this guy was crying every time he kept getting punched.
Crying? Literally crying?
Crying. Because he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So he quit. I forgot what it was. He was a famous person. I guess that weekend he had turned Christian.
Oh, I see.
And didn't want to fight anymore, I guess, He wanted to change his life.
Yeah.
I gotta look it up.
Boxing is one of these things that continually surprises me. That I constantly see things that I feel like I've never seen that before. Like I think on DAZN last night, there was a gentleman who didn't have like tread on his shoes and looked as if he was ice skating around the ring, and he just got knocked down 4 times in the first round because he couldn't stand.
Yeah, this is a fight on.
Worker malfunction.
Yeah, like, and so like he's like keep slipping, falling down,
sliding.
get up, slipping, get hit, fall down, right, and then eventually the ref was just like, all right, enough.
He's gonna stop
This
it.
fight is over. It's like I didn't think I would ever see that.
Yeah, this is on the Scott Quigg.
On the Scott Quigg, the Scott Quigg, John O'Carroll. Yeah, it was one of the undercard fights.
Yeah, he just kept on sliding like he had the wrong shoes or something.
I mean, they look like boxing shoes, but perhaps they were ones that he wore like many times or something.
Yeah.
Like
They were
that.
he couldn't
Maybe
get
he
his
went
footing
running
down.
in them, but it was painful.
That's why you gotta bring it.
Extra pair,
extra
yeah.
pair, man. Extra pair for everyone.
I think the commentator table were like, "Don't they have an extra pair?"
Yeah.
Like it looks
Because you have to bring an extra mouthpiece. You just can't bring one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would have bring extra pair of boxing shoes, right?
Shoes are pricey though, no? Are they not?
Yeah, they are. I think it gets
Depends.
pricey, but
Depends.
you know, if you have sponsors, you know, who's worrying about that, right?
Yeah.
Or if you train at a gym in the greater Los Angeles area, you can go right down the block here to Goat Fight Shop and you get a discount.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Hey,
There it is.
We
There's
know.
my
Goat
plug.
Fight Shop.
There's my
The
plug for
plug.
Goat Fight
There's
Shop.
your plug.
The plug what?
Open today. Today was their grand opening.
Sean's like, I'm expecting some shoes in my car.
Grand opening.
show.
They're like 6 doors down over here.
Sweet. We'll
6
check
doors
them out
down.
later on today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? So you did watch some of the fights?
The Quigley fight I watched, but I watched the heavyweight fights last
Konaki?
night. Yeah, Konaki.
Konaki.
Man.
Man,
You know what I realized?
Yeah.
That was.
Am I saying his name wrong? I've been saying
Kovanovsky.
I've been saying Konaki for like
I saw
what
it.
I feel like is the better part of 2
Kovanovsky.
years, but they were calling him Konowski.
I think
They were calling him Konowski. I call him Konaki. You really have to go to the source to really know
I
how you
have to
say
ask
it.
him.
You're gonna have to knock on his doors.
They were saying that last night, and this thing went in my head like I've been saying this cat's name wrong for like the last 2 years on the show.
been-
You've been adding the S?
No, Konaki is the way that I've always said it.
Same here.
And they though last night
We're probably
referred to him
saying
as
it wrong
Konowski.
regardless because they're Polish. So
Yeah. They gotta go to the
Right?
source to really find
We're
out.
probably saying it wrong anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
We're
true,
playing
bro.
telephone and like it's getting. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
but
no, that was an upset. That was an
Big
upset.
time.
That was an upset because I was going for him. You know, I seen that guy from the amateurs. From the amateurs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
Konaki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of amateurs.
Yeah, he was a 20-1 favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's good.
Yeah.
I think it actually doesn't surprise me all that much. But it's one of those things where I'm also, there's a personal bias ingrained in this because I one time said that I would rather see Luis Ortiz fight Deontay Wilder than see Adam Konaki fight Deontay Wilder. And it was in reaction to, several posts about Adam Konaki being a better opponent, right?
Okay.
And which is something that at the time I was like, I don't know that Adam Konaki is a better opponent. He was just coming off of a fight with Prince Charles Martin. That was actually a really competitive
Yeah, it
fight.
was a
Like
good
Prince
fight.
Charles Martin won like the back half of that fight. And then he had another super kind of competitive fight with Chris Areola.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was a good
Right?
one.
It was a good
That
fight.
a good
Those were
fight.
both really
That was
good
a
fights. But you look at it and you go, okay, so he's taking some damage. He gets hit. It's
He
not
does
like
get
doesn't-
hit, but
he gets hit a lot.
He comes back with the barrage.
and he comes back with the vengeance, with all these punches, and
That's
starts
true.
throwing combinations from like.
He
what
throws
the
a lot
heck?
of punches, that's true, but he
And,
also gets hit a lot. And I think
does.
depending on like the level you're at, like as you progress up that chain, and I think you see this really at any, there's a certain level where you get at and people don't just lay down anymore, right? Like, and it's something that we've talked about on this show in the past, which is sometimes when you get people who are big knockout punchers and they have this string of like 16, 17 knockouts, it's not necessarily going to serve them well when they transition into fighters who don't, they're at the highest level because
Right,
they can
right.
take
No,
a
no,
shot
yeah,
and they
yeah.
can give it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
So
up
it's
in
like,
your level. You're up in your
yeah,
level.
you're like
These
taking a
These
level
guys
up.
ain't gonna lay down as easy as the
Yeah,
other
like
guys.
so the higher you get, and Konaki is one of those guys who I looked at and said, the higher you get up that chain, there's going to have to be some defensive accountability there because if you're just taking shots like that from
Right.
people, that's not a shot that you take from a Deontay Wilder as an example, right? Like you might be able to take that from that dude, but not from
Not
you
from
know,
these guys.
from,
and
not
they're
from the top
heavyweights.
heavyweights.
They're hitting hard.
I know, regardless.
Whoever it is,
Regardless.
heavyweight. He's hitting with
Yeah,
power.
heavyweight.
Yeah,
Anybody can knock it
exactly.
anyway.
So you look at it, and it was one of those things where I guess I wasn't surprised that he came across a heavyweight who could really bang and actually hurt him.
Well, he's a
as he
veteran
went
too.
through and do that.
He's been through the ringer too.
Exactly.
He's fought some guys too, and he's had his defeats. So that night was just his night. And
Yeah.
sometimes that punch lands right where it needs to be, and
Yeah.
it could ruin your whole night, right?
Yeah, I think that one.
You've seen it. You've seen it many times.
Yeah. Ask
these
Anthony Joshua.
These past 19 months in the heavyweight division, you've seen a lot of upsets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's boxing.
Yeah, I think he
That's
caught him
heavyweight
with the counter, right? Like a counter shot inside,
Yeah,
and he just fell. And
Kovanovsky.
Yeah.
Because they didn't count the first knockdown, which was legitimate, meaning they were in there trading, and then he landed a shot, which I think was like an uppercut or something like that, that dropped in the first time.
I think it was a left hook, and then
they
right
called it a
hand.
slip, though. They
called it a slip because the way he fell.
He got back up and was still obviously hurt, and then went back down again. Yeah.
Part of the ref wasn't paying attention, but yeah. It was,
Well, sometimes it's hard to get in.
you can't see everything, right?
Gio Garcia chimes in. He says, "How about Konacki versus or Konowski, depending on who you listen to? We don't really know here. How about Konacki versus a Jogba? What do you guys think?
I think Jogba. That'd be a good one.
That'd be a good one too, Jogba.
I think right now Konaki needs to, take some time.
Take some time.
Let's take some time.
You know what?
The first loss is always tough. So
Actually, I can see him as a cruiserweight. He'll be a good cruiserweight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because those heavyweights, man, they're no joke either. But cruiserweight would probably be best for him.
Yeah, I would say Konacki coming off of because even the wins over Areola, that's a hard fight. The Prince Charles Martin, he won that fight, but he also lost like the last 4 rounds of that fight. Then has this burner with Areola, then goes and gets upset, and the knockout loss. At some point, I think you have to focus on rebuilding him as a fighter and make sure, like a Jogba is probably not the next logical next step, right? Like let's get him him a win here. Let's give him a victory in this.
Because Konofsky's with Top Rank or something?
PBC.
PBC? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually think that you look at the position that PBC is in. So, 6 months ago, every heavyweight title that we recognize is with PBC and with Al Heyman, right? Because they're either owned by Andy Ruiz or by Deontay Wilder. And you look at the big heavyweight card last night, and it's something that actually makes sense because you're in a position where you're like, okay, we need to position some other heavyweights to do things like challenge for the title. Now that we've lost all of the world heavyweight champions, we don't have any in our stable anymore.
They're all over there in the European.
And then something like this happens where the fighter who I think is you're pushing for that chance. There are 2 of them. F.A. Jogba is one. The other one is Konacki. Comes up and gets upset with that loss. It's unfortunate. Do you track who the title holders are in your division?
No, not really.
Not really?
No.
I do.
Yes, I do. He's like, it's my job.
I do. Oh, yeah, I do.
Do you guys watch tape of the guys that you're going to fight to the extent that it's available? I guess at this level, perhaps sometimes it's difficult.
Not really. Not right now. Not right now. I think his skill right now, for what he's doing right now, we don't need to look at tape right now.
Yeah.
But as we get more deeper in the shit, and the shit gets deep. But I want to be on top of the shit when the shit gets deep.
Yeah.
I want to be well prepared, and I want my son to be very well prepared when we do take those big steps in the boxing career.
Yeah.
Given that you're still a young man, you just turned 19 a couple weeks ago. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. You're still a young man. You just turned 19. Are you comfortable at the weight that you're at, or do you feel as though as you develop and grow, there's still probably a potential for you to get into higher weights like 75 and things like that?
Well, actually, I feel comfortable at this weight, but I do want to go down though.
Down.
Oh, you want to go down?
Yeah.
Okay. To middleweight, to 160 or
probably 154.
154.
Yeah, as low. Well, particularly, I need as low as I can. I feel comfortable. So.
How tall are you?
5'9", 5'10".
5'9".
Yeah, you were mentioning that you're a little bit not quite as tall as some of the opposition that you face at super.
Mike Tyson was 5'10".
Yeah, exactly.
Chopping down guys that were 6'4".
Yeah.
That's true. He's still got it, man. You see
he does.
The clip of him at the coffee shop.
You're never gonna lose that though.
Did you guys catch that clip with him and Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yeah.
No,
He saw that?
Yeah, I seen it.
Sugar Ray Leonard had him teared up.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Today.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, he got me teared up today when I was coming over here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because he's talking about what I lived.
Oh, okay. You want to talk a little bit about that?
He's talked about how tough it was, and he was talking about life,
Yeah.
and it's hard out there, when you live in a negative environment and everybody around you is negative, you're trying to pull yourself out of this negative environment. So I'll be honest, if it wasn't for Andre choosing boxing again, I'd probably be gang banging and going to prison, and because that's what I grew up doing.
Yeah.
So
That's what that's what your environment.
Yeah. So when he chose boxing, it kind of got me out of the negative lifestyle and hopped into a positive direction in this life.
It's kind of like you're kind of like forced to like get out of that environment.
I wasn't forced. No, I wasn't forced.
No, like in a sense, like you have a son now. Like you have this.
Oh
is
yeah,
your priority now.
it was like a transition. Like it happened naturally.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not like I wasn't thinking about it. I was just let it happen. And then kind of I said let's just because when he chose the sport, I told him like this. Because he was a little heavier back in the days when he was 12. So the doctor said, told him straight up, hey, if you don't watch your weight, you're gonna have diabetes. So all the sports that he's done, though, every sport that he's done, they excelled to be champions. Every sport that he's done was baseball. And he know how to play baseball. First time he tried to catch a ball, he got a black eye.
Well, I caught it, just not with my hand.
Yeah, he caught it out with that. So I was like, man, I don't think this is sports for him. But he ended up being good at it too, and actually won their division as well. And same thing, any sport he touched, So as he got heavier, the doctor, like I said, he told me, if you don't start losing weight, you're going to have diabetes by the time you're 14. The way you are right now, 12 years old, 200-something pounds is not cool. So we were talking. He's like, I want to do boxing again. So like I said, if you do boxing again, we're going to do it all the way, or we ain't going to do it at all, because this sport, like I said, I come from this background sport, I didn't get to touch the sport, you know what I mean? And if you want to get at this sport, then we're going to do it all the way or not, so we're going to do it until the wheels fall off, and here we are.
Have you ever heard your dad describe it in that way, that you've saved his life in a sense, or that he would be doing something different if not for your participation in the sport?
No, yeah, we talk about that like pretty much almost every day.
Yeah.
He's like,
How's that?
yeah.
He's like,
Yeah,
he's tired of it. No.
I got you.
What's your reaction to that, considering that you have a lot of responsibility for it, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I see it like basically like I have something and I can get us all out of it. So yeah, I would want. I there's times where like I do want to stop, and then there's times where once I feel like I want to stop, then I stop, and like I think I'm like, damn, like if I stop this, then all this was basically for nothing, and then I wouldn't even know how far I would have got.
Yeah.
Cause you never know. I could probably excel more than I can think I can. Probably do something big. But if I quit, then I'll never know.
And that's right there where you were talking about, dads being trainers.
Yeah.
A trainer doesn't live with a boxer.
True.
So so
unless you're Ann Wolf, but yeah.
Right. But
that's under contract, Tosh. They have to live with it.
Sometimes when he feels down and out like that, I ask him, hey, don't ever think when your emotions are like that. That's the worst time to think and make decisions, when your emotions are in the way, because you make the wrong ones sometimes.
Yeah.
When you work off feelings. So
Yeah.
And then boxing's a hard sport, man. It's a lonely sport, And once you reach that pinnacle to being a champion, right? And for instance, Andy Reese. I knew Andy Reese when nobody knew Andy Reese. Like, I was telling Gil, like, look at this guy. He's going to be a world champion. When Top Rank had him,
Yeah.
And he was fighting in Box Azteca on Saturday nights. And I'm like, look at this guy. He don't, people are going to see, because, look at the way he looks. He's not going to be a world champion. But look at his freaking style.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look what he does. And he was just painting the canvas, with this guy's face, with all these speeds, combinations, moving quick, almost like a Mike Tyson. Like, it was. He was moving but he's just a little taller and bigger. I was like, man, this guy got something. So then he wins his WBO. It's like the first one you get. I mean, the WBO.
Yeah.
It's not the big one, but it's like you're getting recognized. You're getting recognized. Here's a little belt for you. So I told you, Gil. I told you, he's gonna. And then he fought Joshua Parker, and that's when that built up was going on. I was like, man, that was a good fight too. But like I said, from him fighting them, all those to becoming the heavyweight champion of the world,
Unified,
unified at that too.
Yeah.
It was special because look at this kid. No one believed in who he was. He only had one believer, was his family.
His family.
His dad.
Yeah.
His dad, and every boxer that has their dad in their back, they're gonna say, "Thanks to my dad," because the dad sees the vision already. The kid's not supposed to see that until the end of his career. What has he done? And that's when he gets to realize what he's done. When you retire, you know, you don't see it when you're doing it right now because you're living in the moment. You're focused. You know, I got to do this, or some people don't have. We all live in different circumstances, right? So some people, I got to get out the hood. I got to take my mom and my people out the hood. You know, they're waiting for me.
Yeah. What do you think of Andy from that first winning that championship to losing it?
What experience? You know, it's adolescence in boxing. You know, we're all young at one point, right? In life, boxing is life too. Boxing. You know, you become a world champion. You know, you're gonna learn your adolescence real quick. You know, if you don't take care of that now. So unfortunately, it happened that night, and you know, it's not the end of the world. He's gonna be world champion again because I believe he will. You know, I believe he is. You know, so that being said, you know, boxing is a lonely sport, man. Tough sport because once it's all over, you know, ain't no one really gonna know you if you're not relevant. You know,
they say that you learn from your mistakes. A lot of people say you can learn from other people's mistakes.
Of
What
course.
are some mistakes that you guys see in boxers that you don't want your son to make those same mistakes?
we're still making the mistakes too. So you know, I can't speak on something that we're still learning as well. You know, all we could do is lead by example and just keep doing what you need to do. Keep discipline because discipline is something you love to do but hate at the same time. You know?
And I think that's one of the things that when you talk about what can you learn from other people, the more you see world champions today, modern athletes in general, not just in boxing, but in other sports, and the amount of time that they dedicate to their body, the amount of money that they dedicate to their body, to strength and conditioning, to all these different aspects of it. Like, it is challenging for me to understand, you know, the mindset of someone like whatever position Andy Ruiz was in. But the one thing I will say is that when you look at the people who are trying to take your spot, a lot of those people, they work every single day. They work every day, whether they have a fight plan, whether they don't have a fight plan. They're in the gym, they're working. You know, like you look at cats like Floyd Mayweather, and it's not like he was going and becoming 180 pounds between fights or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he was a tremendously disciplined individual. Anthony Joshua is a tremendously disciplined individual, right? You look at it, they're working at it every single day. So I think one of the things that young athletes have to take away is, like, you have to take care of your body. Like, you just have to do it, you know? You got to take care of your body, and you have to give it its just due. I saw, who was it? We had some recovery specialists here. They said something to the effect of LeBron James spends $1 million plus a year on his body, just on taking care of his body, right? So you look at it, and it's like, hey, you know, we can't, as boxers, right?
He's like a performance car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
He's a performance car, and you know, in order to run right, you got to have the right things in your body.
Yeah, you have to have the right things going in.
Food, you know, so the right sleeping. You know, so that's why they get paid the millions of dollars to do what they do.
True.
You know, in the end. But, you know, it's a lot of dedication because, you know, you gotta play during certain seasons that the holidays fall in. You know, so. A lot of going away from family. Same thing in boxing because boxing is year round.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, birthdays are missed, Christmas are missed, Thanksgiving. You know, can't eat that, can't eat this.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
Right.
I started boxing late. You know, I was already almost 20 by the time I actually was in.
Oh, you're barely living life. What are you talking about?
Well, it's late for people who aspire to be a competitive boxer, right? So if you
got it, you got it though. Remember?
Yeah, that's true.
There's other people that never have no amateur career.
That is true.
To become world champions.
But you are. I will say that it is fair to say that you're at a disadvantage when you're starting, when you're compared to other people who have been boxing since they were 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, right? So it's a little bit late when I kind of stepped in and started taking boxing, you know, seriously. And you look at it, and I used to think like, oh man, like I could have been, you know, so much better if I started back then. Or the truth is, the level of dedication that's necessary that I see in young men like you and other young men who come on this show, I don't know that I ever had that. I don't know that, like, at any point in time, I don't care when I start, that I could have got up and at 4 or 5 in the morning to go run 6, 8, 10 miles.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like do all the things that you have to do. Dude, it's a grind, man.
It is a grind.
It's a grind.
It's a
What's
grind.
your day to day
Yeah.
like? What's your schedule like in terms of training and all that kind of stuff?
Honestly, since I graduated high school, I don't even go to school no more.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
I just literally just train all day.
Running in the
Like-
morning.
Yeah, I'll run in the morning, or I'll go to like to Alley Fitness or something, work out,
Mhm.
and then wait till he gets out of work, and then
Go to the
go to the
boxing
gym. That's pretty much it.
All day.
All day,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Nice.
Hopefully one day I don't gotta work and then I could be in the boxing gym every day.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
I know. I just imagine you like doing road work. Your dad like in the truck right behind you.
You're right. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is.
That's gonna be that
Just
like
drive
24/7.
alongside.
Yeah. No, that's how it is.
Just drive alongside him,
Yeah.
push him.
No,
Faster.
Yeah, faster. Go faster.
Go faster.
You should be doing it.
Yeah, he's gonna be like,
You should be
Yeah.
doing- do what I say, not what I do. No, but yeah, boxing. Boxing helps a lot of people out.
Yeah.
With everything. Not even as a professional caliberism as we're talking about, but
Mhm.
just in health,
Mhm.
just in health and well-being. Because in the end, we all want to live as long as we can, right?
Yeah.
So, that being said, man, I give it up to boxing.
Andre and I actually before this we were talking about the benefits, not just physically but mentally, the stress relief factor, like the idea that you can come in here and whatever your problems are, you can work that out. You can work that out on the bag.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can work that-
It's a stress reliever.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
One thing is that relieves me, but I haven't done it in a while too, is going to the shooting range.
I've never tried it.
Going to the shooting range.
I've never tried
It's
it.
really like a stress because I do the boxing thing.
Cheaper to hit the bag.
Yeah, ammo. Yeah.
It's
But
way,
yeah, that too.
way cheaper
Yeah,
for me to
Sometimes you
hit it.
gotta
I'll
touch
just
that
come
metal,
here.
huh?
Yeah. Back in the day. Break yourself, fool. No, but yeah, we've come a long way and we still got a long way to go. The road is not even halfway done.
Yeah.
We're barely starting.
So what would you describe, Andre, is your next immediate goal? Like, obviously, I think I talk to a lot of young fighters, and everybody has aspirations to do things like move on to world title contention and fight at the highest levels of the sport, and that's understandable. But there's also sort of near-term goals, like you mentioned, for instance, wanting to fight here. You're 19 years old. I'm sure there's also specific types of opponents or opposition that you're looking for, specific challenges that you want to face. So what's the most near-term thing that you want to focus on in terms of your boxing career? What's the next step up, I guess, that you want to take?
I would say to get signed so I can start fighting over here, because I'm taking the harder route, I guess, because my amateur I didn't want to do amateurs no more, because it wasn't really for me. I didn't like amateurs and the pace it went, the fast pace and all that. I like more taking my time. So I just told my dad I don't want to do amateurs no more. I want to turn pro, but then I don't have nothing to show for. You get me? So I have to make basically something out of nothing.
Yeah.
So I can
You did
show.
win the silver gloves though. And
Oh, yeah, I
golden
won.
gloves.
Yeah, you had
Yeah,
obviously.
he has-
Yeah,
yes.
but I didn't have some amateurs that have 200
Like
plus amateurs.
extensive,
Yeah,
yeah.
15-time national champ. I didn't have all that.
Mm-hmm.
But everything you touched, you became a champion. Whatever it was, boxing, baseball, So he always, I always seen that in him. There was no giving up on him. So I kept pushing him in boxing, and to this day I still do. I won't let him quit until something physical happens to him. Because I don't want to hear later on in the future I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. What's the timetable that you want to see him fight this year? How many times do you want to see him?
Oh man,
fight?
it hasn't even been a year. He's turned pro, right? He turned pro May,
Yeah, it hasn't been a year yet.
and
Okay.
he's already working on his 5th fight.
Good fight.
So hopefully by the end of the year, his boxing year that started, he'll be at 8.
Okay.
He'll be
nice.
at 8. So keep him active, because I'd rather keep him active young, because once you get older and start getting signed with these promoters, you're probably gonna fight 4 times, 5 times out of the year, 6. Once you get signed, and if you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the thing is to take care of yourself too, because that could set you back too.
Do you want to keep him at the rounds that he's doing now? Do you want to?
No, I think this. My brother was talking to me. It might be his first 6-rounder here.
Okay.
So these were all, they were scheduled 4 rounders, I should say, but they were all knockouts. So
Well, I told him like this, because I tell him, right now that you're learning, it's better to get ring time in now.
Mm-hmm.
So but I like that anyways. Like
yeah, he likes that anyways.
Like I was the one that tried to look for to knock moderate, take my time.
It just comes.
Yeah, just so I didn't try to rush nothing. I just take my time. I'm learning, get that experience, and because when time does come, when I hit the 12, I already know what it is to already be in those rounds. Mm-hmm. I know what it is to be in deep waters.
Basically, he's getting prepared for going all rounds. If he has to.
So 6 rounds is something that you guys would look at
this year. This year is going to be it's part of this one. We're looking at part of Utah right now.
Scheduled, I should say.
Yeah. Scheduled. No, hopefully, yeah. Let's talk to the promoter over there in Utah. But
Aside from your son's fights, are there any other fights that you're looking forward to that you're aware of that are on the schedule for this year?
Oh,
as a fan, is there anything that you want to watch?
I want to see Ryan Garcia and
Jorge Linares.
Yeah.
Linares.
Yeah. I like Ryan Garcia.
I like both those guys.
Who do you got?
I can't call it, man.
You can't call it.
I can't call it. It's too hard.
Yeah, I think it's very close right now. I think Linares a slight experience
you got
advantage.
Oh, okay.
But Ryan is
well, he has a pretty significant experience advantage. If you're talking about the level of competition, it's more than slight. He's got a really big experience advantage. Mm-hmm. But I also think that Ryan is talented. Yeah, I think he's shown improvement over and over. Yeah.
So he has. I've seen him because we used to have the same trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have the same trainer, and I used to see him spar. Even when he was amateur, he was sparring at pros already at the gym we used to train at. So seeing that, and then seeing what he's doing now, you can see the difference.
Yeah, I think a lot of people discount him just because the look that he has and. But he can fight.
He's a beast. He's a beast, man. That motherfucker's. I don't know if I can cuss.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
He's fucking fast.
Bro. Yeah, he's fast and
he has good timing and he knows where to throw that punch.
Yeah, I was very impressed with his last two fights.
So to me, he's gonna be one of the best boxers out there of his time, them time. Because they're almost the same age.
I think that's really what sold me though, is because there's a point in time where Ryan kind of had elevated a little bit too quickly, and he ran into some level of competition where you saw he started to really struggle. He started to struggle with the Carlos Moraleses and the Jason Velez and cats like that.
Sometimes you got to transition though.
Yeah.
Because remember I told you that transition trainers and all that.
And
in the pro style, you have to sit more on your punches and.
Yeah, and this was all before the transition to Eddie Reynoso. So he kind of hit that level of competition. You
can see though.
Yeah, and then
once he got to them, it was a different fighter.
Yeah, he went to Eddie Reynoso, and then they kind of went through a rebuilding process where the fighters that they were fighting then were a little bit of from a competition standpoint.
Yeah,
where people were maybe coming off of a string of losses or had a couple knockouts and things like that, and now he's sort of gradually stepping up, and you could see that. He's hit a point now where you're like, he's way past the guy who was struggling back then. You know what I mean? And that's it's a short period of time. It's only 16 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you go, no, he's made so many improvements that you can look at him as a legitimate threat to people who are in this division. I don't think at the time that he was facing Carlos Morales, for instance, people would have looked at it and said oh yeah, that's he's a legitimate threat to the people at the top of that division. But now you look at it and you go, okay, a fight with Devin Haney is much more interesting.
Yeah, no.
It's much more interesting now. A fight with Jorge Linares is really interesting. Yeah,
I
it's
still
super compelling.
I think Ryan's gonna knock him out. I honestly think so. Probably maybe in 5th, 6th round.
It could happen. It's hard, right? I can't call it. That's what I said. I can't call it.
I think
because
I like Linares too. I like but you know what I mean. Remember. He's already getting up older and older.
He is.
It's sometimes and time will tell. I like Linares, but it's a fight game. Everybody got to pick a side.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but I see that fight kind of being kind of in a way versus Donaire. I just see that the vet versus the young.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
I feel like Linares can push him.
Sometimes
that would be great for
sometimes a baby lion you gotta gotta make his move to be the king of the jungle sometimes, right? And
I actually think both of those cats came out of that fight better, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, you look at where Nonito Donaire was in his career, and coming out of that fight, you go, wow, man, he just gave someone who's considered one of the top pound-for-pound fighters a real test. Like, you look at him, and it's like it elevated where he was at in the sport, and it also elevated the monster because he came out with the win over someone who has a Hall of Fame type resume.
he fought him in the Super 16.
Yeah, so I think it's
Nonito Donaire fought the monster.
so I think
he found out why they call him the monster.
Right? Yeah, but he did really well though. He did really well.
He did.
Just some good shots
because that's the heart of a veteran.
That was one.
That's the years he's been in the ring.
I set my alarm for that one. I got up at like 3 a.m. or whatever ridiculous time they played that on DAZN, and I remember feeling so angry, like this is so silly that I have to watch this at this time right now. And then I watched the fight and was like, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got up and watched this because it was easily a fight of the year candidate, if not fight of the year. It was an excellent fight.
Yeah, you come out of that fight feeling proud for those two guys.
Oh yeah.
Gio Garcia called it. He said, I agree, Ryan by KO.
Ooh.
Called it. Gio Garcia on the chat.
Yeah. That's what it is.
That's your partner right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta, you gotta.
It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. But hey, it's boxing, man.
It's boxing.
Yeah,
It's boxing.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in boxing, Anything could happen.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Ryan does have that scary speed and power in both hands. So, like,
they're doing good with him. Reynosos are doing good with him. He's
Yeah.
sitting on his punches, powerful, speed is there, looks, everything there. It's a package.
yeah.
Oscar got the package.
Yeah.
I will say, since Gio's on the chat, I think we're getting closer to a point in time where we're going to realize that Billy Joe Saunders is not moving back down to 160.
Yeah,
I think we're getting there, Gio. I think we're getting there.
Uh-oh.
Gio and I have had a disagreement on Against the Ropes one time about Billy Joe Saunders and his status as a 160-pound fighter. And I had mentioned that he moved on to 168 pounds. He wouldn't be coming back to 160 for these fights. And the gentleman's agreement that we have was if he does not return to 160 in his career, then Gio has to come on this show and issue a public apology.
Oh, man.
And if he does return to 160, then I have to go on his show. I have to go on his show and do it.
Money sometimes talks.
Yeah.
Money make you do things that, okay, I'll hit 160 again.
Yeah.
I can do it.
So, it could happen, but I will say that it's the same the opposite way. If he goes back to 160, I have to go on Christian and Gio's show and issue a public apology. So we'll see. But I think it's looking in my favor at the moment.
I think it's looking, And once you fight the cash cow and get that money, I don't think you want to work as hard to lose that weight.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, right?
He's about to get that Canelo money at 168. You better believe it, son.
That's good money. That's good money. Right
You
there.
probably retire off that one.
You could,
A lot of buffets after that, a lot of vacation time.
Waking up with
I don't
silk
think he's
sheets,
coming
man.
I see Chino Maidana. I was like, he's not coming back. Like,
He's coming back. Look at him right now.
Oh, he is training, but
He's freaking training his
Yeah,
butt
I
off.
see that.
I think he's lost like 60 pounds already.
yeah.
He's tried it a couple times.
He's tried it.
He's tried it a couple times.
I think he's doing it this time. He might just fight Broner. He might. Hey, why not? I'll see that again.
That's the thing with Broner. He's still marketable. Like, love him or hate him,
They're both marketable though.
yeah.
They're both marketable. It's
I would
just-
watch that fight again.
Yeah,
Am I
I
down
would
on
watch
Broner?
that. I would.
Absolutely.
Hey, make it happen, guys. Make it happen.
You know what's funny, man, is all these cats that like set up those types of showcase, like Sergio Martinez. I know you guys are familiar with him and his camp. You've talked to his coaching staff. He's looking at James Kirkland is coming back next week.
Yeah, saw that,
James
yeah.
Kirkland making the return next
he's
week.
fighting. What's his name? Is it the Nightmare's name? So he's
think
up
so,
north.
yeah.
He's up north. He's up north guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
so
in the contender. I know
Hernandez, right?
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
he's
like
fighting
that, yeah.
Hernandez. So he's fighting Hernandez next week. But like,
See-
I got the nostalgia gets me.
Oh, yeah.
When these cats come back, like if Marcos Maidana were to come back and fight Adrian Broner, the nostalgia, like the feelings that I have left over from when I used to watch him, still make me want to
Yeah,
watch him fight. Like yeah, I'm
come
gonna
back.
watch him. I'm gonna watch James Kirkland fight. Like I'm
Yeah,
not gonna,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah,
I
it
can't
was his
help
bad
it.
loss against Canelo, right? That was only like really,
yeah, well,
really
that was his
bad
last
loss.
fight, right? That was,
Yeah.
I don't know how many years ago that was at this point.
That was like
15
5 years
yeah, like
ago.
5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well back,
So
Yeah.
Hey.
So Sergio Martinez, he has a fight penciled in Madrid.
you mentioned,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
you
that's-
mentioned that
Sergio Martinez, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
the comeback.
Everybody wants to make their comeback.
Yeah.
It was like, man, there's a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Something about boxing, man. It's just holds on to the fighters really don't want to leave.
Hey, it's a sport of his own.
I think it has to do with social media now, that they put up content and they see their fans engage with them, like, oh, like, it's great seeing you, and then they get motivated. That's what I noticed with Martinez.
Hey,
like,
what do you guys think about the YouTube fighters now? How they let's talk about that. Real quick.
both of us reacted the same way. So we have to
hey,
talk
guy.
about the YouTube fighters.
Let's switch
I don't like
the
that.
subject.
you don't like that?
I
Why is that?
Yeah, go for it. You
like,
start.
I don't know. I just don't like it. It's kind of dumb. Like, I don't know. just
So
don't
I
like
respect that
Yeah,
because look,
same.
as someone who dedicates his life
Right.
to the sport since the time he was 12 years old, you mentioned that you train all day, every day. You know, to see people headline main
Right,
cards,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
To see people headline main cards.
and the boxers are the undercards.
The undercard,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I didn't
not
like-
just boxers, but world
I think
champions.
David
didn't like-
Haney.
yeah.
I think David. I
didn't like
got
that.
me mad when David Haney was in the undercard. I think right.
Yeah.
And that was his like that was basically his card. And then
I was like,
these
man,
two
this guy should be the
YouTube- these
YouTube
two
guy should be
YouTube
fighting the
guys, like-
undercard. Then you know what I mean? Like,
and they don't even know nothing about boxing. So it's like, how you gonna have them in the main event
It's
and
like
they don't even
watering
know how to
down the
throw like a
sport.
1-2 right?
yeah, it was
So
all
I was
bad.
like-
It was all bad, man. And it's you know, it's not a sport to be disrespected because people die.
Yeah.
People do
You know?
die, and so I completely understand the perspective.
I'll bet you if you throw them in
that.
there with a real professional, I'll bet you they
Yeah,
won't
different
ever want to
story,
box
yeah.
again.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, though, I also understand that there's a business and an economic component to boxing,
Right.
and that at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is find the path of least resistance for selling as many tickets as they can sell, and finding individuals who have dedicated fan bases who will watch them is one way to do that. And to Eddie Hearn's credit, I can see ways that he has tried to capitalize on that audience and transition them over to real boxing. I think the idea of putting people like Devin Haney and Billy Joe Saunders on the undercard, even though they're world champions, is that all these new viewers, all these fans who don't normally watch boxing, maybe we can get them interested in Devin Haney. Maybe we can get them interested in Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's why
I
you
would
take a
think-
fighter
yeah.
like White Chocolate and put him on right before the main event.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're
But
like,
they're, you know, if you put them on the undercard, those guys are still gonna stick around. They're not gonna. They didn't buy a $40 ticket just to see the YouTube guys
I'm not
fight.
so sure, man, because you look at, like, you know how you know they're
They're
not
gonna sit
boxing
there and
fans?
watch fights. Anybody likes to watch a fight.
Yeah, you know, but you know they're not boxing fans because they're there when the
They're
card
yeah,
starts,
right.
right? Like you're
No,
watching
yeah,
the team,
yeah.
you're like, oh, the arena's already full, the cards just started, it's in LA.
And
They're
they get-
clearly not boxing fans. Those guys,
No,
those
yeah,
guys
yeah,
are
yeah.
just waiting
but,
to
hey,
see these.
But wouldn't it be nice for a guy that's undercard to have those people watching him?
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, that's true.
Because you don't get that.
You don't get that.
You get like maybe like 100 people watching the fight.
But that's why I'm saying, so in
So
that
bring
respect,
'em
it's
to
good
LA.
for the people who are on the undercard who normally wouldn't have that kind of exposure necessarily to try
Yeah.
and build fans around that. Although I don't know that it works or doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you know, they're making money. That's cool.
I'm sorry. And you were saying, as I was going on
Oh
there
no,
with the
yeah.
YouTubers.
No, I was just saying like I honestly thought they were gonna put them in like the middle, like undercard, but I guess they didn't. They put them out as a main event, which was kind of dumb because I thought Devin Haney was gonna be the main event still.
After the main event was that main, I was still waiting for a main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a main event.
It also
And I
didn't-
think those people would still stay because like they're getting a mixture of both. Like they're
Yeah.
getting real boxers and then they're getting the people that they came to see. So then they're seeing like what boxing is really about towards like just as like not a fantasy fight, but like a what do you call it? I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, but I will say that the first one, at least, those two fought previously in an amateur style. They trained with professionals. They did things to at least make it competitive between them and look somewhat like a boxing match. This second fight that they did in Miami over Super Bowl weekend, that gentleman had no business. I can't even imagine how he got into a
see that?
boxing ring. Like
You
you
see
look
that?
at you look
Yeah,
at it
I
and
see
you're
that.
like, that's
That's
dangerous
bad.
to let someone
Yeah,
in
you
with
see
that
that?
level of
Yeah.
experience. Like that guy, like that is I don't understand it. The
When
other
someone
two,
dies, when one of those
Yeah.
guys die, there goes the lawsuit.
the
you
other
know?
two, the other two were like
Just 'cause
evenly
they want
matched.
to bring some revenue in it,
Right, like
you know?
obviously they're not used to this. They gassed out early,
yeah.
you know. They're but
Even
they're-
those headshots, they're
Yeah.
not used to that.
yeah, but so they're evenly matched, and you could see they both kind of have done comparable training. The second fight in Miami, I looked at that guy and was like, what is he doing in a box? Like, how did he get a license? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that I found interesting. I've said on the show a bunch of times, like, this is one of the only sports where you actually don't have to be good to do it. Like, there's not a requirement.
You don't need to be good to get a license.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not a requirement that you're good to box.
I know there's some people that get licensed just to get beat up.
Yeah, I'm
to
sure.
Get paid to get beat up.
Because they get paid. Yeah, they get paid.
Oh, you need me as an opponent? Sure. When do you want me to take a dive?
It's really, but like if you're playing in the NBA, you have to be one of the best basketball players in the
you
world.
Yep.
If you're playing in baseball, you have to be one of the best baseball players in the world.
You have to get drafted first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're gonna box, you just have to pass the PE test. You know what I mean? You got to jump rope. You got to hit the bag. You know, do a couple rounds.
You're hired.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. You got the job.
Yeah.
No experience, you're hired.
You're hired.
No, for real. So there's really no requirement, but at the same time, I looked at that second fight and that gentleman who I'm not really familiar with the YouTubers, but the guy who was dressed like, you know, Randy Savage, like, you know, whatever, a Slim
Randy
Jim.
Savage.
Slim Jim.
He was dressed like a Slim Jim. I don't know, like he was all yellow and red and doing all that stuff. That cat was like, my goodness, you're like, please don't step in a boxing ring again.
Yeah,
or at least train or something, right? Like
we
what
probably
are you,
lost fans because
what
of
are you
that.
doing? Like,
You
yeah,
know, we lost. You know, they're disrespecting the sport.
Yeah.
You know,
hardcore boxing fans for sure are gonna say, "Hey, this is disrespectful. You're
it
like
is.
we're taking a back seat to
is,
these
to
guys."
this shit?
And
you got a bunch of YouTubers that are behind keyboards
Yeah.
being main events.
and they'll also talk about the promoters not doing their, like, the promoters, for the promoters, that's a path of least resistance. That's a built-in audience. It's not the same as building a fighter. You know what I mean? And we'll say, hey, do your job. Build up fighters. Build up people who box.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I totally understand both perspectives.
And I get it. You know, it's making money.
It's
I'm
making
not,
money,
It's
right?
making money.
Yeah.
I'm not tripping on that. I'm tripping on how they're main line being
Their
main
headlines,
lines.
yeah.
They're headlining. You know, that's
Two world title fights behind that other.
That's not cool with me.
They had Devin Haney and Billy Joe Saunders
Saunders.
both defending world titles.
And
undercard.
on the
get in the
undercard,
back
yeah.
seat,
Yeah.
sit in the back seat, world champion.
Yeah.
What the hell?
He took all that time to get there, and then he's gonna be
Sit
put
in the
as
back seat.
like an undercard for someone that
Has no
started
boxing
boxing
experience,
for like
no-
a couple months, and
That's-
already has a.
At the
main
same
event.
time, for the fighters, though, for the fighters who take that on, I imagine contractually they're aware of what their position is going to be into this. And I look at it and I go, if they're, hey, I'm all for any fighter getting paid whatever it is that they can get paid, right? So if someone like Billy Joe Saunders is going to say, yeah, I'll be on the undercard and I'll take whatever I'll take what you're going to pay me because, we're going to have a big gate and we're going to have all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm totally all for it.
No, yeah, yeah.
All for it. Whatever a fighter can get paid, they should get paid.
They should because
Yeah.
they risk their life at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Like, that's why I think it's funny when people criticize, like, people say things similar about, like, Floyd Mayweather and his exhibitions, right? The guy served his time. If he wants to
Yeah.
go and fight a kickboxer and make $9 million, who am I to
Go-
sit like,
exactly.
go do
Go
that?
ahead and do that.
Go fight a kickboxer, make $9 million, bro.
Yeah.
You did.
Well, they
You
both
already
did.
your time.
They both kind of like
They both
had
did
it
their
growing
time,
up.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The same. They all had to do the same thing to get where they're at.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Mike Tyson fight exhibitions. Muhammad Ali fought exhibitions.
Everybody fought exhibitions.
Once they retired.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather, like, for these
Julio
guys
Cesar
to-
Chavez did it yesterday
Yeah,
with Odyssey.
yeah, exactly.
In Mexico.
How
Yeah.
was that? I missed it.
I don't know.
Oh,
me
you
too.
didn't
I
watch
tried
it?
to find it. I tried to find it on because it said it was going to be
It was on
Box
Facebook.
Azteca, but then it said it was on YouTube.
So who is he fighting again?
Odyssey.
Arce.
Odyssey.
Okay, the first one was good.
The first one,
Yeah,
Chavez
she-
won.
Yeah.
I don't know who won the second one.
Oh
though.
man, like I saw the you know they're older and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you still see like that.
You see
the
the-
technique.
you see
the
that.
will. You
And
see
he still.
Well, those are
Chavez still has like.
Yeah.
That's
'cause-
muscle memory.
body like the body shots.
That's
like
muscle memory. You
the
know,
head
when-
movement.
Yeah, you never lose that.
You never lose
even
that.
when you get knocked out, right? There's some
Yeah.
people that are still throwing punches.
Yeah.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like you're asleep and you're still throwing punches and combinations,
Yeah.
right? Have you ever seen that happen?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen all
Like,
kinds.
right?
Yeah.
The body's a trip, right? It's programmed to do what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do.
We've had fighters on our show come up and say that they've done interviews post getting knocked out and they don't remember doing the interview.
Oh yeah. Because the adrenaline just kicking in, and
Yeah.
you're all like, "Oh man, just what happened?" And then once everything's knocked down, everything's calmed down. You're like, "What
Yeah.
the heck? What did I say? Or what did I do? Where was I at?"
Yeah.
You just fought. You
Yeah.
just fought.
Yeah.
No,
Those
wait.
guys want to get paid fighting exhibitions. More power to
Yeah,
them.
more power to them.
More power to
Yeah.
them.
Money in their
Yeah.
pocket. You know?
Yeah, back to the YouTube stars. I
Yeah.
think they said something about like they should, if they want to fight, make their money bring some of the crowd in, they could do their own separate show.
I don't see why not.
Do a separate show, but
Yeah.
don't involve professional fighters.
Exactly, because you're watering it down.
Yeah.
But the thing is, professional fighters got paid for doing
They
that.
did
Like
get
Billy
paid.
Joe Saunders got paid for
Oh,
fighting.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like he
yeah.
was doing that for free.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
And
they
a
all
lot
get
of people
paid.
who would never have seen or even heard of Billy Joe Saunders
Mm-hmm.
at least got exposure to him. You know, and the same thing with Devin Haney. All these people that have never seen or heard of him at least got exposure to him. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily bad for the fighters who are on the card.
Mm-hmm.
It gives a black eye to the sport in general. But the people who are fighting,
I think
they
just
got
like-
a big audience out
I
of
think
it.
it's just like the position they put it in.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, to me, I do the facet that I do like about the YouTube is like they do show a lot of entertainment. They know how to entertain. They know how to sell themselves their personality. They're very
Right.
colorful. So there's some
Yeah.
things that. I
But
always say-
boxing sells itself, though.
Mhm.
You gotta be honest, because we've been watching brutal sports as our ancestors, and they filled up arenas.
yeah,
So we really, now, like I was telling Luis earlier, like nowadays some people think they need the social media as far as fighters go.
Mhm.
If you're a badass fighter, you're not gonna really need it.
yeah. One example that I can think of to your point is Virgil Ortiz. He's a very quiet guy. Very
Yeah.
mellow,
Oh yeah.
But he does his boxing, everything inside the ring does the talking.
Yeah.
So
box speaks for
other-
itself. His
Other
skills.
fighters, boxers have to kind of sell themselves inside the
Right.
ring and outside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He's like one of those guys that
Mhm.
he does all the talking inside.
Right. That,
Yeah.
and that should be.
Yeah.
Some people are different. So
Mhm.
some people are different.
By the way, I sound like I'm defending YouTubers, but just to be clear, I'm not. I'm not defending
It's
the
all
YouTubers.
good. It's
I'm just saying I understand that
The
there's
numbers
an
game.
economic
No, yeah, it's a
component,
numbers
that
game.
there's
It's
a
a numbers
business
game.
component to it.
But if you threw those
And
guys to professional fighters,
It's good on the money part.
Yeah.
yeah,
that's it.
and I totally understand the perspective,
That's it.
particularly from someone who has dedicated their life to the craft to think, hey, why is this guy getting inserted in front of me? You know what I mean? Like I've spent my whole life
Yep.
doing this.
It's like, hey, step
You
aside
know.
while this guy that's
Yeah,
never done it
exactly.
before comes in
Like
here.
you guys can't put me on a card, but you're going to go and put these dudes on a card,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I think the motivation is always going to be monetary, right?
Yeah.
It's always economic.
Yes.
So
No, yeah.
I think you have to pick your battles with that one because let's say they told you like we're gonna sign you, but you have to fight under one of these guys' cards. Would you do it? I guess it's like you pick your battles and then
Exactly. Like that's where you do. I want to be. Do I want to be involved in this, or
Yeah.
do I? Like you said, you pick your battles.
Yeah.
You know.
Because you see there are cats like David, for instance. David, I think, came out and said, you'll never find me on an undercard
yeah.
of some
Yeah,
YouTuber.
Who said
Right.
that?
It's David Benavidez. Right? Like
Oh,
David
yeah.
Benavidez
Oh.
came out and said, yeah, you're
Yeah.
never going to find me fighting on
You'll
an
never
undercard
fight.
of
Yeah,
some YouTube.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. So, like, there's definitely people who, who are vocally passionate about it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, that's not cool. I agree with David.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Because
Oh,
in the end, like how I was telling you, they put years
Of work.
years,
Yeah.
hard shedding tears, no Christmas, no nothing,
Going through stuff.
going through stuff,
Yeah.
and these guys, hopping the scene like crispy and clean. Like, what the heck? Who
Yeah.
are these guys?
Yeah, it makes the fighter feel some type of way, right? Because
Yeah,
people
it
don't
feel-
see
No, it
they don't see
should.
all the struggle that you guys do. They only see
Yeah.
like the when you're up
Yeah.
there, the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And how long it took to get there.
Yeah.
these guys did it behind the keyboard. Where are the sweat and tears in that, right?
The funny thing is, I'm not really confident I understand what it is that they do. Like, I understand that they're YouTube personalities. Like, I know that they're famous
Yeah, I
because they
didn't
have
know-
YouTube
I didn't even
following.
know who they were until
But
they
I-
stepped in the scene. Like, who
Sure,
are these guys?
yeah,
And I
like-
had to look them up. Like, are you serious?
But I don't know what they're famous, like what,
For.
what videos
For.
are for.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not sure what they do.
Yeah.
I know the
Like-
British
I don't know
guy.
either.
What is a YouTuber, right?
Well, yeah, I know. Like
Like a
obviously,
channel, I know a YouTube
yeah,
channel,
like this,
but I don't know
this
what
show
a
is on
YouTube,
YouTube,
like,
for
I don't know.
instance.
Like, what does he do? Like what jackass people do? Do dumb stuff.
That's
like
what I mean.
that?
Like, I don't know what he does. Yeah,
like,
like
at least we
maybe
know what they do, right? They do.
Yeah.
One of them fought Butterbean or something.
Yeah,
it was- it was,
Johnny
Johnny
Knoxville.
Knoxville.
Shot from Butterbean.
He
No,
very
what-
good. Yeah,
no,
it was Johnny
it was-
Knoxville.
it was?
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
concussed.
Then
you
the
know?
and then the other one,
It was Mike Tyson.
Steve-O
yeah.
fought one
Steve-O.
too.
Mike Tyson.
Oh,
He got
doing
punched
a
by
ro-
Mike Tyson?
He was doing a roast. It was okay. Check it out. All right, true story. Okay, Steve-O goes does this thing on Jackass or whatnot,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And I guess one of his buddies is doing like hit him in the nuts or what. He's in recording it, right?
Mhm.
So he hits him in the nuts, but he doesn't record it. But he hits himself in something that he breaks his nose.
Mhm.
So he leaves it like that, Steve-O,
Mhm.
right? So later on the years, he tried to fix it. Can you fix it? You're gonna have to break it again. I have to break it again to fix my nose. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we have to re-break it, and because he waited
'Cause
so
it healed
long,
like that.
it healed like that. So it's like, oh, forget
Yeah.
that. So he left it like that. So he does a roast with Mike Tyson, and I forgot who it was. I think it was Charlie Sheen's roast.
Mm-hmm.
So like, hey Mike, and they knew each other for years. You know, Steve did a book, and he's in it. You know, and he was like, hey bro, I want you to punch me, and I'll fall and do some crazy, right? So once the show's almost over, he does. He goes, yeah, I'll do it, but I gotta tell you, Mike Tyson, if I hit you hard, it's all right, Mike. I'm gonna plan it out where you just barely graze me. I was like, all right. So he does it, and he freaking hits him square in the nose, and he breaks it again, right? He breaks it, right? And remember, the show's almost over already. So the show's over, and this guy from the audience goes, Steve-O, you need to fix that right now, right now. He's like, and he knew that when you break your nose, you have to fix it right away.
Right away.
He's like, you know what? This guy has something going. Yeah, dude, all right, come down. And he's like, I'm a kung fu instructor. I done fixed like 13 broken noses. Like, what the fuck?
Fixes his nose, the kung fu instructor?
Yeah, the kung fu instructor's like, all right, man, I already had it this long. Well, it's already broken, so he's kind of, onto something, right? So he fixes his nose.
Damn, was he?
I'd still go to the doctor. I don't care if you're kung fu.
No.
I think Steve was tried going to the doctor, but they're gonna
break it. They were gonna
because since it healed, they're gonna charge him for it.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, no medical insurance.
They're gonna charge him.
Yeah,
Damn,
but yeah, the kung fu instructor fixed his nose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kung fu instructor in the audience.
Did the
Yeah.
this thing, like
he's
from
like
Karate
out of the
Kid,
stage, he yells, Steve-O, you need to fix that right now. And Steve-O knows because he went to the doctor. Like, when you break your nose, you have to fix it. If not, we're gonna have to re-break it and do it again.
Yeah.
So he knew that
this is the time.
This is the time. So he got it for free. He got his nose jobs for free.
Got the Miyagi,
Yeah.
That's not kung fu though. That's karate.
That's karate.
So we were talking about what, Jackass, or what we were saying earlier about.
I was just commenting on that. I don't really know what these particular
what
YouTubers do.
Yeah.
Like, I know
Me
what
neither.
some YouTubers do. I don't know what
neither.
these YouTubers do that made them famous.
Video
did they
games,
play video games?
Video
or do
games,
they,
right?
Do they
Like,
shoot, like Jackass kind of
I
stuff?
think
I don't really know.
I thought it was just channels, wasn't it?
Yeah, they do like pranks, or they do.
They do
Like
pranks,
everybody
is
has
that
their own
right?
channel.
like KSI, right? What does KSI do?
Yeah, I think he
I have
video
no idea.
games.
Video game
or
guy,
soccer
right?
or something.
He plays video games?
What I seen at the Zone, and throwing the little, he was a video game guy, and then that guy Jake Paul or whatever, he's like, he does stunts or whatnot. Like, I guess
I don't know what he does.
I don't know, bro.
that's what I see.
I'm lost.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, what? You just play video games, and one guy does stunts,
I guess.
Yeah.
and now they're making millions of dollars here fighting in this arena. Oh wow!
Phil and Staples Center.
Wow, the American dream.
American dream.
Yeah, and at the same time, there's one other sentiment or one other feeling that I have about it, which is that, if you can go get paid, then I'm not gonna hate on it. That's like the other thing. Like, I get from a boxing standpoint being mad at the promoters who go and do that, like saying, hey, Matchroom shouldn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys, people are paying them millions of dollars to go and fight inexperienced fights where they haven't done it. And I can't say, like, oh, they shouldn't take that. Like, no, like, if somebody could come in here and say, hey, I'll give you, $10 million and you guys all fight in the ring at one time, I'd be like, okay, that's interesting. We should all discuss that, because I think that.
No, but let's discuss this now. Now that they're professionals, right?
Yeah.
Now that they're considered professionals, are they going to fight professional fighters now? There are
That would be a bad
right?
idea. Yeah.
Of course, it'd be a bad idea, but hey, you want to consider yourself as one, be one.
Yeah. I think
in order to be a champ, you got to beat the champ, right?
Yeah. I think that
Right?
the thing that I've said many, many times on this show is it actually doesn't take great fighters to make great fights. It takes like well-matched people.
Right.
That's what it takes.
Oh,
Two
yeah.
people
It
who
takes-
are evenly matched, right? And so at this point, like, you look at them, they're both professionals. They have no experience. They kind of have the same extent of training. So when you put them in, they can make a somewhat entertaining fight
Right.
just by virtue of the fact that they are evenly matched people, right? So, like, if you take one of those fighters and put them in with a professional at 175 pounds or whatever they were fighting at, like, come on.
Could be in
It
the
wouldn't,
hospital.
it wouldn't be entertaining even.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Like,
right. Like, yeah.
Look what you did to
It wouldn't
him.
even-
Poor
wouldn't even be
guy.
entertaining.
You know what I mean? That's
Like,
what you're
we
going
would
to
all
get
watch that and be like, okay, that was a wash.
Boxing's brutal. I was like,
Like, if you put Sean in with with Ellie for 100K, that'd be a good match, right?
with Ellie Sekback?
With Ellie Sekback.
with who?
For 100K?
With who? With who though?
Yeah, Ellie Sekback.
I know,
he's
but with-
saying if you put me in with Ellie Sekback for 100K,
Oh, wow.
for charity, I would do it.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then there it is.
For
You
charity,
know? Hey,
yeah.
he's doing it for something good. You
I already
know?
told Gio's supposed to fight me for charity. Actually.
Oh man.
I told him we should do a charity fight. The host of his show and me.
Have you guys ever sparred?
We'll do a fight. No, we've never sparred each other.
No, but have you guys done any sparring?
Oh yeah, of
We-
course.
oh, okay.
I have
We
a lot. I've
sparred,
done a
yeah.
lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
okay,
I don't know if
Have you-
We've done some light sparring.
Oh, okay.
Me and
Yeah.
the other guys.
All right,
yeah.
all right.
I've been in here sparring.
From 1 to 10, how do you guys think you are? We'll start with you.
How do I think I am?
Yeah, like when you're
Oh,
sparring.
I've won as much as I've lost.
Okay.
yeah.
So you're even.
Yeah, I'm about even, but you also have to think of the caliber. Like the best, I've only ever sparred one professional, and I sparred one amateur who was the Southern California Golden Gloves champion.
Okay.
So the amateur who is the Southern California Golden Gloves champion worked me over something pretty good.
Okay.
So it was like it wasn't like I was at fear of being knocked out or something like that. It was more just like he was
The
much
skill.
more effective than me.
More skilled.
More active,
More active?
just very, very active. You know what I mean? Like to
Okay.
the point where it's and had way more lung
Experience?
capacity.
Oh,
just
like-
way more lung capacity to the point where like by a few rounds into it, 3 rounds into it, I'm gassed, and he could easily just keep going and going and going. They rotated someone in after me, right? So they took me out and put another fresh fighter in, and then after that guy, they took him out and put another fresh fighter in.
Yeah, that's what
He's actually
boxers
been a
do.
guest on this show. His name's Joey Abudi. So Joey Abudi, for those of you who don't, Joey Abudi beat me up.
There you go. Shout
uh,
out.
multiple
Shout
times.
out. Shout out.
Multiple times. But the more he gets a claim and experience, like when I saw that he went on and won the Southern California Golden Gloves, I felt a little bit better about myself. I'm like, all right, yeah, he's beating a lot of people. He's not just beating me.
Hey, but isn't that a trip? Isn't that a trip?
I'm like,
Hey, he was a
okay.
champ.
He was a
beat-
champ.
He's,
He's like he went on to be and became great.
I got a pass. I got beat up by the champ.
Oh man, so that one I sparred one professional, and obviously he didn't have an extensive amateur background. He had some amateur
Oh, okay.
fights, and I did
Pretty
fine.
good.
Yeah,
Nice,
I did
nice.
fine. So I think it's really just based on people's experience and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I had to rate myself compared to like anybody who's a known name in a division in which I would compete, which would be probably, I mean, I walk around at 140, so I could probably get as low as
135.
135, yeah, at least.
122?
Because it's no, like, but I might be able to get down to like 30 or something like that,
okay.
So like if I got down to 30, obviously compared to anybody who is a name in that division, I'm like a 1. You know what I mean? Like if you know their name, they're way better than me.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Of
Like,
course.
if you know their name,
They're ranked for a
way better than
reason.
me. If they ever won an amateur title belt, they're probably way better than me. It doesn't matter what title it is.
Right?
They're probably way better than me.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, man. It's the
Yeah.
skills, man. The
But
skills.
yeah, no, I told Gio that hey, we should do this charity thing, right? Where I'll fight, and it's funny because not enough people follow me to even care that I was fighting somebody else for charity. But the the thing is, I was like, we'll do a charity thing. We'll fight each other, for charity, and we'll raise some money. And he was like, cool. I just need a couple hours notice, and I'll be down there. And I was like, anybody who only needs a couple hours notice to go and participate in something like that is somebody I don't want to fight with. Right?
It's like I need you to have
You're
a full
like,
training
hey,
camp because
yeah,
I need
exactly.
one. Right?
I told him I'm too old for all that. I need the 6 week
one.
training camp.
Oh,
I need the
man.
whole thing. Strength and
Six.
conditioning.
It's like, yeah, you need everything.
I'm
Okay.
old, bro.
Like I need that first camp where I get injured and to pull
exactly.
out.
And then we have to push the date a little bit. Like I need that.
I just got a hangnail, bro. We
Yeah,
got to
exactly.
cancel the fight. Damn.
If your attitude is just give me 2 hours and I'll be there, I'm like, nah, this is probably not. That's not for me.
Is that for me?
It's like you're not laying on the couch, Gio. You're doing something in the gym.
Paco Perez said, "What up? I'm in your corner, Sean. I would feel a lot better with Paco in my
There
corner."
you go. There you go.
Shout out to Paco. Shout out to Alphonse Bundy who said, "What's up?"
There you go.
Gio Garcia.
That's funny. No,
Oh man.
I would say for my sparring sessions, I had more wins than losses, but I have very careful matchmaking.
There you go. There you go.
Choices.
You scout out the right people, huh? You scout.
So I
Hey,
let
that
the
guy, he's green.
He,
I'm
pi-
gonna
he
get
picks
this
them their
guy.
first day in the gym.
Yeah, that's what
Hey,
he's
you
real
wanna
green.
spar?
Let me get that guy. You see,
He's like, "Is this
he
guy's
goes,
first
shows
day?
his girlfriend,
You
look,
want to
good.
spar?"
Shows his girlfriend, look how bad I am. Look how
So I let the
bad I am.
professionals do that. That's
You guys can actually see if you want to see. There's a clip of me on YouTube. We had a former national amateur champion, 15 times or something like that. I don't remember. Joseph Landeros, who had I let him just give me body shots for about a minute.
Joseph
Yeah,
Landeros,
like 1 minute of
Oh,
body
Joseph
shots.
Landeros.
Yeah.
The little guy.
Yeah.
He's what is it? 122.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joseph
back then.
Landeros.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
So I had him on. I let him give me body shots for about a minute. That's about as much as I can handle.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
the most body shots. Benavides, but I had the the body armor.
I had the pad on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I wasn't just letting him hit me in the.
I was like, you're pretty strong, dude.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No, yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, I'm not like you, bro. I had to have the armor, bro. Like I know you took some shots from him, right?
Who?
With Benavides, he sparred Benavides.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How's his power?
It's pretty good.
Pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
bro.
I
Pretty
didn't
good.
get the full effect because I had that.
I can already tell that if your opinion is his power is pretty good, then I can't mess with it.
Yeah.
That was us at the Mexico games.
Okay.
Where they both took gold.
Oh, I somehow
Oh shit.
changed it. But
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah,
it.
we know that kid for because of the boxing world.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He was doing acting too, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He was doing a little acting too.
He was.
Is he still active?
No, I don't think so. I think he's retired.
Yeah, he retired. Yeah, he found something better.
Well, I'll ask you, bro. If you weren't doing boxing, what would you be doing? If you were not doing boxing, what's another passion that you would have?
I liked football.
Oh, okay.
I liked football. I always wanted to play football.
What position?
I don't know yet, but
okay.
probably running back.
Okay, he likes like contact
Yeah, I
contact
like
sport.
contact sport.
Yeah. Okay.
Cause that a lot like people say I run pretty fast for being big, so they said running back.
Yeah.
Actually, in high school they wanted me to play
Yeah.
football, but
What did Dad said? Like no.
told me nah.
Nah.
I was kind of mad.
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
all
okay.
right. You know what I mean? Because you get hurt.
Yeah.
You get hurt. You get hurt. And
You get hurt anywhere.
you do two sports. You know what I mean? And maybe one sport you exceed, and then one sport you could excel.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So you pick. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
Pick your.
pick your poison. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if football would have paid, then hey, I would have root you on to be a football player.
Mhm.
But I think boxing was probably the best route for him
Mhm.
because he did excel in it. You know, so
Yeah.
I chose to push that route. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gio said funny stuff, by the way. It's all true, Gio. I was only naming two people who are high profile by the name. I've had many, many more sparring sessions than that. I'm just naming the two kind of best people who I've been in the ring with.
There you go. No, but yeah.
I'm not scared.
Everybody's not scared until they get hit.
Yeah. Sounds like if the money's right.
I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I was just saying that stuff.
So what do you think about the Reese and Anthony Joshua? You think it's gonna be another one?
Reese, Anthony Joshua.
3. Yeah.
3.
Yeah, 3.
I always say like it's how you look even in defeat, and
Because he did look good the first fight.
he looked good the first fight.
He was well prepared the
Yeah.
first fight. So if he could be like that,
If he could be that again,
it might be a good one. You know, it might be a draw. You know, who knows? Those, you know.
It's also a different fight. The first fight, I think Anthony Joshua's
was
mindset.
ready.
You could see when Anthony Joshua came into the second fight, he was
Oh,
so
yeah.
calculated and disciplined in his game plan to the point where even areas or times where he could have engaged and maybe had Andy in danger, he chose not to. Just because he understood that this is kind of how I got caught the first time around. And it's easy for someone to fall out of that and say, hey, it's the last 10 seconds of the round. Let's even the last 10 seconds of round 12, let's just fire off and give him a show. Still wouldn't do it. He still wouldn't do it. It was still like, nope, you're going to stay right at the end of this jab right hand.
He's
and I'm
still
not gonna do anything
disciplined.
else.
He's still disciplined.
So he had a really, really
got a good
disciplined
game
game plan, and that second fight was a very different approach that Anthony Joshua took than the first fight. So I think if you're Andy Ruiz, it's not just coming in shape, but also understing that
the mindset too.
yeah,
because
we have to neutralize this game plan somehow.
remember when you start making like he made history that day. Okay?
Yeah.
You can't tell me nobody was jumping out of their seat when that happened.
oh yeah,
I jumped out of I almost hit the roof.
I have a picture of me actually.
But
did-
that was
from behind.
that was probably one of the greatest moments in boxing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Again, you know,
That's
probably more than Buster Douglas and Tyson.
Yeah,
That's
up
how,
there.
like in about 10 years, it's gonna be real historical.
Yeah,
You know, the first Mexican, and boxing's been around since 1800, and never a heavyweight champion of the world. There's been all kinds of champions, but never a Mexican.
heritage. Like
Wow.
fighter. Yeah.
That was in 2000, from 1800 to 2000.
We talked about do we believe that that's Andy's highest point in his career?
No,
Is that going to be his highest point?
I don't think
Do you
so.
think he comes back?
He's still young. That's saying, do you think Wallner is done?
He's not done. Have you?
That's like you saying him
I-
him being done. Do you think? No, they just go. It's a setback.
Yeah, it's
how they adolescence.
It's
It's
how they
boxing adolescence.
Yeah.
Right. Boxing adolescence. You know, we all learn, and I like it because boxing don't lie. Boxing gonna tell you who you are. Either you're gonna get up and go harder, or you're gonna sit back and stay in the backseat.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to say that he'll because you have to understand. Not only was he the world champion, he was the unified world champion. He had 3 different heavyweight belts, and those belts, it's hard to keep them all collected in one place, man. People are going to have their mandatories, and they're going to be stripped because they don't want to fight this guy.
So that's why it's hard to make fights, too.
Yeah, and it's hard to make fights. And so at the end of the day, even if Andy Ruiz kind of regains the world title at some point, the idea that he's regaining 3 world title belts and unifying or doing something greater than that, which would be becoming undisputed, those are incredibly challenging things to do. Like, there's only 2 undisputed champions in all of boxing right now. So like, it's not like, or 3, I wasn't counting women as part of that statement. So there are more undisputed champions when you count women.
We're just talking about the
I think that when you look at that, it's not unreasonable to say that, hey, Andy Ruiz could be champion again, but maybe not at that. Like, it's hard to get 3 world title belts,
Heck
right?
you gotta fight every champion.
Yeah,
in that
exactly.
belt.
That's like
so he got there just like you, right? So in order to have, like you said, those belts, all at one, except for the WBC because you don't have the WBC, but man, that would have been nice, man, if all the belts have just one name to it.
How do you feel about Wilder activating his rematch clause right away?
I would have done it the same thing too because he got hit. He got hit with a shot that I honestly think busted his eardrum, and that's why his equilibrium was off. So I was like, man, this guy's bleeding from the ear. He busted his eardrum, and when you bust your eardrum, you're out of line. You're tumbling everywhere. You see how his legs were everywhere. But at the same time, man, Fury hailing at 275, 6'9", all that weight on him, and then plus that shot that he took, he said it was a caution, but we all blame it.
Like, no, you look like you don't buy it
because he wore the same thing the first one, but just a different color.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He was like the golden one, right?
It was gold and white.
Yeah, gold and white.
And this one was gold and black.
I love him. I love him.
Would you ever wear something like that as a ring entrance? Something flashy or?
Not that. Like, I don't see the necessary where you gotta wear a big old. If it weighed 40-pound suit, like, why would you even wear that before, like, seconds before a fight? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
What is something that you would do in your ring entrances though to to show your persona, your personality? What's something that your father recommends or?
Nothing really.
No.
I just show it in the ring.
You want to come out like Ultimate Warrior and like run out, sprint out to the ring.
He's real smooth. He's real
Rhino.
Yeah, right. He's real. No, but he's real smooth. Like, I was just telling Lewis that he's real calm and he. It reminds me of Danny Garcia and his dad.
Oh, okay.
Danny's real smooth, his dad's doing all the shit talking. Like, someone got to do it, you know what I mean? Like, so he's more calm and collect, cool, like, like Cool J, real smooth, but no, I do the talking.
You do all the talking? Nice, okay.
I do the talking.
I also want to make sure that you leave time to give you guys all the shout outs that you want to give. If you want to rep your gym,
a good podcast,
your sponsors,
man.
all that stuff. So this is your camera right here. Go ahead and look into this camera and give all the shout outs that you need to give.
Shout out to Gabriel Perez at Garden Grove Nissan, David Nam at Nissan Garden Grove. Good looking out, always taking care of Andre, sponsoring him. Everlast, Ernie from Everlast, same thing. You're always taking care of my son. Good looking out. Thank you very much. To my team, Mr. Le Assassins, we're here. We're grinding. And what about you, Andre?
Shout out to Capatillo's Boxing Gym for taking us in, letting us train there, showing us love.
Yeah,
and then
much love, Capatillo.
Everybody showing me love that showed love through my career right now and still showing love.
And Fernando from K9 Securities and Mario Daggett from let me see.
Holistic Tattoo.
No, not Holistic Tattoos either. Let me see. Black Mare Tattoos. Shout out to Mario, Black Mare's Tattoos. Yes, sir.
All right,
and shout out to Just Boxing for having me on here.
Man.
Shout out
We're
to Just
happy to
Boxing
have
for
you
having
guys.
us, man.
Happy
It was a
to have
good
you guys.
podcast. It's a long one.
Yeah.
It's probably the longest one you guys had.
No, not. When Christian and I get going with Gio on here, I think sometimes we break the 2+ marker.
Oh,
we could just sit here and do this for hours.
I wanted to do like 3. I was like, man,
we could easily sit here and do this for hours.
I could do it all day long.
Not a
talk
problem.
about boxing. And
I think if you can't sit for free and talk about a subject for hours on end, then the podcast platform is not for you. Like
Right.
I think this is like a requirement of being able to do it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, man. So what do you guys see in the future of boxing? Like now that you got the YouTube stars, you think they're gonna mix up with the boxers?
No,
No,
Right?
So,
I don't think so. Is this just a fad? You think? I think it's just a fad. I don't think this is.
I don't know if it's a fad. I think these types of exhibitions where you have like the whole celebrity boxing type experience, there will continue to be opportunities in the future for people to make money off of stuff like that. Because the truth is you could take any two guys from the NFL or 2 YouTube celebrities or whatever.
I'd rather see that.
And say like
AB. I heard Antonio Brown wanted to fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So like if Antonio
See,
Brown
now,
were
I'll
going
see
to fight,
2 athletes. See now, those are 2 athletes.
yeah, that's
See, they're
true.
not.
It's 2 athletes, but
2 athletes. I'd rather see that.
Yeah.
But
than
I
a
guess my
bunch of
point
YouTube.
is there's always going to be celebrities, which means there's always going to be an opportunity for promoters to say, hey, let's capitalize on this beef or whatever's going on, particularly in the social media era where those things are like public,
Yeah.
and you get to see like this person's talking to this person, as a promoter, if you can go like, hey, let's get, 20,000 fans in an arena and let's do it. And if they're willing to do it and you'll capitalize on it and make money. So I don't think it'll go away. I think that you've actually seen versions of this in the past, it's celebrity boxing type things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've seen versions of this in
But
the past.
I think they do it for charity though when they do something
Sometimes,
like that.
sometimes. Like I remember when I was younger, Fox, for instance, had a whole celebrity boxing, like a half hour program where they just had celebrities fighting each other. And I use the term celebrity loosely. It's like any 2 people who've ever been on TV, who can fight each other. So it's like opportunities like that and people who use their celebrity, like back then, who was it? Tanya Harding, for instance, who like went and transitioned into boxing and stuff like that, bringing an audience. So I think we'll see
even
more.
Shaq done it. Even Shaq.
Yeah,
done it.
Shaq, right? And Oscar. Shaq and Oscar.
Well,
did
Oscar's
it.
a real friggin' boxer, so there's
Yeah, I
not.
know, that's true.
that way disadvantage.
But the point is, like, I think that as long as you have celebrities who are willing to do it,
Yeah.
and people like promoters will make money off of it, we'll see.
Yeah.
It.
And
We'll
it
see
brings,
more.
but those guys do it for charity, so that helps out a lot of
Yeah.
people too, like, with type 1 diabetes and
Yeah.
other, boxing is a beautiful sport. It brings everybody together, even it's so violent, but it's so beautiful at the
Yeah.
same time. Like,
Yeah.
it helps out people. It can help people, It's just like, man, it's amazing. And some people just think it's a brutal sport.
Yeah.
It's really
It's a
beautiful.
sweet
Because it
science.
can be.
Yeah.
It can
It
be
could,
brutal.
it could. You die in the
Yeah.
sport.
No, not a canon. It is.
Yeah,
It is,
exactly.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, we get to see.
It is brutal.
Particularly in the past 2 years, there's a lot of examples of things that stand out where it's beyond unfortunate. There's not even really words to describe how sad it is that someone goes and on national TV is competing, in a contest and as fans, we're getting a kick out of watching it. And wow, it looks like they're,
But
they're trading
family
a lot
don't.
of punches.
Their family's like,
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's taking a beating, and what
Yeah.
are you doing? Throwing the towel.
And that's the thing that's a challenge. I think as casual boxing fans, we appreciate, or I will say the casual boxing fans don't appreciate craft as much as they appreciate, like the bangers. Like when we think of the all-time great fights, the fights that stand out in your mind as like, these are the best fights. They're not exhibitions. They're not clinics, right? They're always fights where you go, oh, these are 2 guys who are just beating the hell out of each other. Right, like it's your Gotti Wards and your stuff like that.
Yeah.
You look at your Rios Alvarados, and man, these are just 2 guys who are just cracking on each other
Sugar
for
Ray
12
Leonard
rounds,
and,
this
Road
guy's
Up
going
to the
down,
Right.
and then that guy's going down. Right, so you look at it, and those are the fights that we remember most fondly.
Right.
But they're also the ones that take the greatest toll on the combatants. They're the ones that take the most out of you.
Boxing's the most criticizing sport too. And
Yeah.
Hey, how can you do this, that, and then the next, he's a champion. I'm his friend now. Hey, I like him, man.
Yeah.
So I think
That's crazy.
I think it's difficult because there is obviously a lot of tragedy and things like that,
Yeah.
or it feels like it. It feels like there's a lot of it.
Yeah, the first one that I seen well, it wasn't in a boxing ring. It was Diego Corrales.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite boxers growing up too. Well, I was already older, but still looking at the sport growing up. Yeah, he was one of my favorites, and man, that fight with Castillo, man. Did you see that fight too?
Yeah,
Did you see- that was
Corrales Castillo. Yeah.
His wife, Miss Castillo, made the the Las Vegas Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame.
Shout out to her.
Yeah. Actually, I met her when I went with Stacks.
When you went to the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame.
We were just chopping it up, talking about the fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, they done a lot about. They done their part about boxing too. Even though he's gone,
Yeah.
they still keep his name alive. That's good.
Nice.
You know, a lot of wars, man. A lot of wars. Salvador Sanchez too was a good fighter. He didn't die in the ring, but his motorcycle accident or a car, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not just death in the ring too. I mean, people experience long-term effects of boxing after. It's more than just dying. Like there are some examples that pop into head immediately because you're like, wow, this person died on DAZN or this person died on national TV on a top-ranked card.
Yep.
But then there's also the idea that people are taking long-term damage and things that are bad for their health. You know. So
these pills,
fighter
man.
safety is a big deal, and I think you'll see. Hopefully, you'll see more changes in the way of fighter safety and making sure that we're taking care of you guys.
CT, all that concussion, all that, and it's funny because, we do, boxers and football players really put their body on the line, man. Body on the line, and like I was watching the documentary on what's his name, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah,
like, man, we should start doing our homework more. And I heard that that MLB just lifted the ban on marijuana, because they weren't. I don't think they test.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
hockey players don't test. You can do any drug in the world, they don't test.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I think any sport where there's physical contact where you get some trauma, there's got to be some strict regulations
damage,
because especially when there's money involved. Sometimes some of these athletes will go into it just because they need the money. They need the money and getting that paycheck, and so maybe they're not in the best form to be
to be fighting. And they
fighting
do it anyways. They do it
and they still do it anyways.
There's two people that I know. I'm not going to mention their names. But they're
what are their names? No,
thing one and thing two.
Tell me who are they?
There you go.
So yeah, man, they're coming back into the sport again. Not because not because they need the money, because they have to. Because sometimes when you sign a contract,
you gotta honor it.
You gotta honor it, and people call, hey, well, you still owe me 3 fights. You know what I mean? So sometimes you gotta, do what you gotta do. But yeah. Crazy business. Yeah. It's a crazy business. Crazy business.
It is, but we love it.
Yeah,
that's why we talk about it.
Yeah,
that's why we talk about it for hours on end, and that is the mission of Just Boxing Foundation is actually to support the fighters in this way, past and
you just
future.
changed it. You said right, Just Boxing Foundation, right?
Just Boxing Foundation. Yeah. So it is an official 501c3 registered nonprofit organization. Our mission is to support past and empower future generations of boxers. There's a lot more that we can do, for the young people who box, for amateurs who have to compete in even national travel, international travel and competitions, going to Olympics. A lot that we can do in terms of, in this country, they pay for that out of the pocket to the extent that they have to get sponsors and do things like that. It's not like USA Boxing, for instance, pays for their travel and expenses related to amateur competition or international competition. And then on the other end of it, we admire, I would say almost more than any other sport, we admire warriors among all, above all others. And that's true for all of time. If you go back, the person who is the greatest fighter of the time, they transcend. Yeah, exactly. It transcends any other type of sport or competition. And that admiration kind of exists mostly while those fighters are in the spotlight. And then it kind of falls off when they don't compete anymore. The truth is that the vast majority of fighters will never even reach sort of that level pedestal. Or that pedestal where we'll say, now, mind you, we'll go watch any set of fights, even club shows, and have a tremendous amount of admiration for the combatants who are in there. But when they're gone, they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah, and we kind of have a tendency to forget about them.
How do you stay relevant?
And so Just Boxing Foundation's mission is to support past and empower future generations. And one of the ways that we do that is through this program, Just Boxing Live, where we get an opportunity to bring on young and talented people and showcase them, and provide exposure to them and give you a gift basket. So
thank you.
You get the basket. Sweet. But so thanks very much to you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
Having us.
Thank you,
Christian. Do you have any shout-outs?
Thank you, Luis Mejia from Combat Sports Collective, right?
Hey, of course.
Thank you
for bringing us on board.
Christian, this is your camera. Are there any other shout outs that you want to give?
I don't know, just shout out to my co-host Gio and Chris. They're doing a lot of work, for against the ropes. Chris has been out in the field a lot, covering Churchill and other various gyms. So shout out to Chris. Shout out to Gio for doing all that editing that he has to do like day in and day out. It's a lot of work, so we appreciate it, bro. And thank you for having me on, Sean. It's always a pleasure.
Of course.
Great meeting you guys. We'll follow you.
Great meeting you guys too.
Yeah, we'll follow you guys' career.
Thank you very much.
And for me, of course. Go for it.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, for me, well, I was going to wrap up, so why don't you go
Oh,
first?
okay. You guys can follow me if you guys want to follow me, Rhino_213. So you guys can check out what Andre got going on for the upcoming fights and dates and stuff.
Do you want to plug your Instagram?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at HoodRichAndre. That's I only have Instagram.
Cool.
Only source of social media I have right now.
It's okay. I still only have 2, and I'm like a social media based platformer. But mostly it's mine is because I'm older and don't exactly know how to use all this stuff. So I'm learning.
Didn't they
I'm
say
learning.
when we're going to school, technology is going to be the future?
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't lying, huh?
I didn't learn it.
I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I rely on other people, like stories are I have the most challenging time with Instagram stories. I'm almost sad to admit it. So when people create them and tag me in it, I'm like, thank God I can just share this to my thing. Repost.
The other day I was Andre, how do you post this old video on Instagram? I've been trying to do it.
That's me.
It's like, look, Dad. Boom, boom, boom. Are you serious? That was it.
That was it.
Yeah. A day already trying to post up this video.
Yeah.
Let's go right here real quick, if you don't mind. Shout out, of course, to Combat Sports Collective is a full-scale fighter support system offering strength and conditioning, photography, videography, and many other, including merchandise, as you can see here on the table.
You got the
You got the wraps. You got the hand wraps. And the website's up, right?
The new Combat Sport Collective hand wraps.
Website is up. So get the you guys can find the hand wraps and other merchandise on Combat Sports Collective website. So shout out to Combat Sports Collective and to Luis Mejia. You can follow him at Luis Mejia Photography. El Mejia Photography. So thanks for coordinating this. Of course, you can follow me at Just Boxing Live on Instagram and at Just Boxing Live on Facebook. We will be making announcements in the upcoming month for the next project for Just Boxing Foundation. So thank you, everyone, to your support for the fundraiser. Shout out to Jordan Stewart, who put up a fundraiser on Facebook for his birthday. I appreciate it, brother. That was awesome. And shout out to Goat Fight Shop right down the street here. You guys,
Fight Shop.
Couple doors down. Goat Fight Shop. You can get your gloves, all your fight gear, really, and you get a discount if you're based in a gym here in the LA area. So tell them I sent you. All right. Thanks, guys. That's all I got for this afternoon. I'll be back with you next week. Appreciate it.
We're out.
Peace.
Hey.